I like The Simpsons. I haven't watched them in a while, but I like them. Good evening, guys. Hope everybody's doing okay today, right? What's up? What's up? Laura, thank you. Appreciate you. Justin, how are you? Hope you're doing okay. All right, let's get to this guest over here. Hey guys, remember if you guys can help get the live off to a good start by tapping, sharing, and saying the heart means, I would appreciate that. And if you guys can help reach the gift goal too, little roses, anybody can send a rose or just 1 point each. All that just sort of helps get onto the FYP. And when we're on the FYP, get more people alive, mean more conversations, etc., etc. All right, well, let's get to it. Hey, how you doing?
Hello?
Hey, man, how old are you?
Good. I didn't know what happened to the last live.
I had to
I'm
restart. I had to restart.
34. No, 33.
Okay. Wait, did
It's
we
all
did we
good.
talk before? I'm sorry. Did we talk?
Yeah, I was the one that was like, I don't understand how anyone
Oh, yeah, yeah,
thinks
yeah.
that
I'm
they
sorry,
can
man. Sorry,
counter argue this.
sorry. Don't take it personally. I just forget the people's names
Did
and
I
stuff like that.
request or did you invite me?
You requested. You requested. If you didn't
Oh,
mean to,
my bad. I
let
was
me.
just blindly.
You're good. Let me go ahead and bring you back down because I want to see if I can do some one-on-ones with people. But if you wanted to come on up,
Yeah, man.
like when somebody's saying some stuff and you feel like you got some stuff to say to it, you're welcome to request. I'll bring you out with me. Okay.
Nice, nice.
All right. Take care. Dewey, how you doing? Dewey, how you doing? Dewey, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay. How old are you, first of all?
I am 20.
Okay. And are you a vegan?
I am not.
Okay. Why not?
Because I don't know why. I mean, I just always eaten meat. I went vegan for like a year and a half. Uh, when I was maybe 17,
Okay.
17 to 18. Um, and it just never really stuck. I did notice my health got worse during that time period. I got a lot weaker. But I mean, it's just never. I've tried it before. It's just something that's never stuck.
What do you mean you got weaker? By like which metric?
I played football for
Okay.
college actually. So that's what I do almost all day. I would just lift and lift and lift. And
Okay.
when I went vegan for that half a year, I would notice I would get like weaker, like not like pounds, but like tens of pounds. And I thought something was wrong with me, but it just I switched back to a meat diet, actually to a meat only diet, and I mean I got back to normal. I got stronger.
Um, when you were a vegan, where did your weight fluctuate? Did you gain weight? Did you stay the same weight or lose weight?
I was a offensive lineman, so I weighed about 250, and it kind of stayed the same ish. I kind of went. it would go up and down. I went from like 260, then it would sometimes spike up to 280, but then it would go down like 230. So it was really weird. But I mean, it
Okay.
was nothing like I didn't lose 100 pounds or something.
Okay, so and guys, we can get to a new guest at 10,000 likes. Okay, so if you are in opposition and you want to come quicker, you can help tap 10,000 likes. We'll move on. So listen, man, there's nothing about the vegan diet that's going to inherently make anybody weaker. Now, if your training changed, if you took in less calories or something like that, then sure you would have gotten weaker. But there's no reason why you couldn't have sustained the same strength on a vegan diet, all else being equal. So I'm kind of confused as to
Well,
how that happened.
I'm just telling you what happened to me. I mean, I don't know the specifics. I hit my protein goals every day. I don't know if there was something wrong with me. I went to the doctors multiple times. Nothing was ever wrong. I mean, I'm not coming here to trash on you for being vegan. I just
I
want to know
understand.
why you think that you're morally superior.
Yeah, we can get to that. It sounds like there's more to it. The fact that you said you got that much weaker, because something else must have happened. Like
There probably is, but
you
I'm
must
not
have been,
sure.
because it is easier to be more deficient in certain vitamins and minerals. So very well that could have happened, and then as a downstream effect, you could have gone weaker. But as far as the ethics behind it go, you guys remember 10,000 likes, new guests. As far as the ethics behind it go, I think we ought to not harm sentient or once sentient creatures.
Okay, why do you think that?
Well, I would argue you probably think the same way. Like humans are sentient. I would imagine you wouldn't want to eat a human.
Well, I think human and animals are a little different.
They are
Don't you
different. I
think?
agree. Well, humans are animals, but humans
Well,
and other
you
animals
know.
are different. Yes, humans and other animals,
Mm.
yes, absolutely, we're different. But they're still cows are still sentient. Chickens are still sentient. Pigs are still sentient. What's the difference?
Humans have a purpose in life.
What?
Humans have a soul. Humans have a
Well,
moral compass.
we can't measure a soul. Souls don't exist. The science has never shown that a soul exists, so we can't really use that.
Oh, I don't
Um,
know if this is a big part, but I am Christian.
yeah.
I think that's a big factor in why I believe humans have souls. But
Okay.
I mean, even just not the souls part, humans know right from wrong. Humans can different. I can't say that word. How do you say that word?
Di-
Differentiate.
differentiate.
Mhm. Right from wrong. Humans humans are smart on average. I know pigs and other things are smart, but it's just humans are much smarter on a so much different level.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
I think it's uncomparable.
Let's take it one thing at a time. All right, one trait at a time. Intelligence. There's some people that are born with really really heavy disabilities, and they have like almost no intelligence whatsoever, even on par with that of like a pig or a cow, and sometimes even lower actually, because the cows, or I think it's cows, or it might be pigs. I might be confusing it too. Their sentience and things like that are actually on par with like a young toddler, believe it or not. So why would it be okay to eat, say, a human who is born with a heavy disability?
That's where that's where for me personally that's where the souls come in. I know you don't believe in souls, but I feel like that's my biggest thing.
What's a
Humans
soul?
have
What's a soul?
a soul is like an imaginary or not an imaginary like a I don't know how to explain it. It's like a you can't see it, but everybody has one. It's where it decides where you go after life. It's weird to explain, but everybody has a soul.
Okay, so you can't see it, but you know they have it. How do you know they have it if you can't see it?
Well, again, I know this is where my Christian faith comes in. Everybody has a soul. Everybody has to go to heaven or hell.
But how do you know it's
It's
true that they have a soul? I understand your religion says so, but how do you know it's true?
because everybody has to go to heaven or hell, and your bodies don't go to heaven or hell. So something of yourself has to go to a place. It's not your body. So what else could it be? It would be a soul, because the way it is described is the only comprehensible way that it is one. That's the way it's described in the Bible, or not in the Bible. That's the way it's described. That's the way. I mean, it's just what else is gonna go? You can't go.
Are you telling me that other animals? So what happens when other animals die?
Nothing.
How do you know
Animals
that?
just
How do you know that?
because God put animals here for humans, for us to eat, for us to have farms, for us to have milk.
Do you follow every single thing that's in the Bible?
I try to follow most of it
So why do you get to pick and choose then?
because some things are either outdated, like a lot,
Like
and then
souls?
some things souls are not outdated.
Oh,
Actually,
so why do you get to pick and choose what's outdated and what's not? It seems like you only get to choose things that are convenient for your argument.
I don't. I mean, I follow mostly everything. I follow what God tells us to do. What God says is good and bad. I
Do you wear
mean,
mixed fabric? That's a sin according to God.
I don't believe I wear mixed fabric.
So every single time you wear shorts, they're cotton, and your shirt is also cotton. You've never wore like jeans and a cotton t-shirt.
No,
You've never
I don't.
you've never wore jeans and a cotton t-shirt.
I'm pretty sure when I was like 5, but I mean,
So you sinned.
yes, but I didn't know I was sinning. So technically, not a sin.
That is goddamn convenient.
I'm just telling. I'm just telling you what it says. Uh, I know you. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. I believe humans have souls. I believe that pigs do not have souls. I believe that they were put on this earth to be or consumed or be of use to humans. Because humans are morally superior than cows, pigs, and dogs.
How do you know what's in the Bible is true?
Because that's what I believe.
But why?
Because I have implemented everything in the Bible to my life, and my life has been very much excellent. So
Well,
I believe from a
how does that mean the Bible is true though?
well, you asked me in my own opinion how I believe the Bible is true, and
Yeah.
that's how I believe the Bible is true.
Wait a
There
minute.
is not.
You said you
Oh, sorry.
implemented everything in the Bible into your life. So,
And
okay.
obviously not everything, pretty much everything. I've not sinned, not got out
So
of part. You
what
know,
so what things from the Bible have you implemented in your life and what have you chosen to not implement in your life?
um, I pray every time I get the chance to. I try not to sin. Every time I do, I pray. I repent. I go to church. I praise God. I mean, kind of like the basics.
Okay, so as it pertains to diet, which you were talking about specifically, as it pertains to diet, do you eat the Christian diet?
And what exactly would that be?
Are you serious?
I've never heard of a Christian diet.
There are certain things in the Bible that it outlines that is deemed unclean for you to, so again, this goes back to the statement and the point that Dougie was making before when you were talking about animals. You can't get up here and take a morally superior position stating that this is what you believe because you find it applicable to all areas of your life and that you apply you at first you said all, now you're saying not all but some, and so you're picking and choosing what to live by and what not to live by based off of what you feel most comfortable with.
No, I mean, I I do what the Bible tells me to do. It tells me not to sin. I don't sin. I'm not picking and choosing what I do. I'm not saying one week I'm gonna sin. I'm gonna sin this week, but not this week.
Okay, so
I
your diet is most likely a sin. Like your diet most likely goes against what you are claiming to be your Christian beliefs.
There, can you give me an example of a diet that I'm supposed to be following as a Christian? Because
It
I mean,
is.
I can't think of one.
Do you eat bacon?
I try not to, but once in a while.
You're not supposed to eat pork according to the Bible.
May you provide me evidence of where it says that?
Do you eat crustaceans?
Can you provide me an example of where it says that?
I'm going to tell you that you should use Google and look up the Bible verses specifically.
Or you can just say where it is.
Why would I give you that information when the goal is for you to learn?
Because you are making a claim and you're not giving an example.
I'm
So,
telling you that you can look it up. You can go to Google right now. You can pull out of your screen here, go to Google, and you can ask Google what book in the Old Testament specifically talks about
ooh, that's a good
not
thing.
eating
Old
pork.
Testament. That's a good thing. Old Testament and New Testament are very different.
Okay. All right. I don't know how much further we can have this conversation if you're pick and choosing what to believe.
So
Basically.
again, you
Okay,
don't
look, hold on. Look,
apply.
I'm
So
gonna get
you
off
don't
because
apply the Bible to your day-to-day life.
I do.
You don't, because you don't eat
I
in
do.
accordance with the Bible. You
Which
don't,
you have not
and
provided
the
me an
diet. And
example
I
of.
told you that you could go look it up, and you are refusing to do so.
I am not. You are making a claim and you're not providing me
It's
evidence.
not a claim. I'm telling you where it is. I'm telling you that it's in the Bible, meaning you can now go and you can go look it up. This tells me you have
Or
not read your Bible.
I have read my Bible, definitely,
You have not
100%.
read your Bible. You've cherry picked the information you've gotten out of
You
your
have not
Bible.
given me any evidence. You have not given me a single piece of evidence.
Go look it up.
You go look it up. You're the one making the claim.
I told you where it's at. Go look it up.
Okay, look, we're getting nowhere with this. I'm gonna get off because I've been here a
Because
lot.
you're
I
refusing
think
to
both of
educate
y'all.
yourself and you want
I'm
me to do
not
the work for you. I'm
gonna.
not doing the work for you.
Shushies. All right. All right. We got a bunch of people in the request box, but somebody did call in from YouTube, so you can call on back since it'll be your turn. Okay. Actually, I'll give you a call back, and Buzz, you can stay up here if you want. That's fine. How you doing, by the way? Doing all right?
I'm doing good. Just wedding planning and whatnot.
Okay.
Have you?
Just to let you know, Buzzy, they're not going to be able to hear you when you speak. Okay, from YouTube, they only can hear on TikTok. So
That's
to
fine.
give
Have you seen your YouTube comments?
yes, unfortunately. Hey, guest, how you doing?
Okay, so fine.
Call from.
What's up, man?
Hello?
Hey.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, not much. How old are you?
I am 37, I think. I stopped counting after 30.
All right. Are you a vegan?
What?
Are you a vegan?
I am not a vegan.
Okay, why not?
No. Why I'm not a vegan? Because I enjoy eating meat. That's one.
Okay.
And two, there is a biblical commandment to eat meat.
Okay. If I enjoyed eating humans, would that be okay?
No, because I put a second quotation to it where it's a biblical commandment as well. There's a biblical commandment not to eat human meat.
Boy, another Christian. Okay, so you follow everything that's in the Bible?
Yes, I do.
Every single thing that's in the Bible.
Well, you can't follow every single thing. Certain things in the Bible can't be followed because it's not the current. You don't have the environment to do it. So, for example, there are some categories in the Bible that talks about Kohanim, which are within the Jewish sect. They have a few different tribes, and the Kohen tribe cannot do certain things, but other Jews within that category can do it. So things that are applicable to me, that I have to do, I do.
Okay, but you don't have to eat meat though. But you don't have to eat meat.
No, you do. You actually do. There's a commandment in the Bible that says you have to.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be.
Bring it up to you specifically if you like.
No, it's fine. I just don't believe in God. I don't believe in the Bible, so it's going to be very difficult to have a conversation when you're just following just like a book that was written thousands of years ago.
How about this? I'm going to share something very interesting. I'll share something interesting with you. We don't have to literally get into it, but I'll share you something interesting. Happens to be humanity did not eat any meat until after the flood. Adam didn't eat any meat. Nobody ate meat until the flood. Why they started eating it all of a sudden? You know?
What do you mean?
Why did they start eating meat in the first place? Until the flood in the Bible, they never ate meat. It was only after the flood. Noah's family were the first people to eat meat.
Okay, and why is that the case?
So until then, men and animals, everything was created in unison. Everything was one. It's all flesh. It's all soul. It happened to be that man degenerated himself to such a degree, he became no different than the animal that crawled on the floor. So God made a separation between him and the animal. How? He says, if man will dominate the beast, he will separate himself. How do we dominate them? We ate them. By us eating that, we knew we're bigger than it. We're a greater being than it. We're different than it. But in reality, the way the world was created, you were not supposed to eat meat. It happens to be.
Okay.
That was the initial creation.
Okay. How do you know the flood happens?
This makes Christians look
Yeah,
bad. My God.
all the different cultures and religions, even like pagan religions, if you go back, every one of them argues about a lot of things, and almost nobody debates the fact that there was a flood that happened. Every culture brings up a flood.
And what's the evidence of it?
They argue about who's the Messiah. They all argue about everything. Can you eat pork? You cannot eat pork. You could eat pork. But nobody argues that there's a flood. That's the one international agreed part, is that we all agree there was a flood.
Okay, you're welcome to believe that happened. That's fine.
Why? Can I ask you, why don't you believe in God, by the way?
Because I just don't believe in imaginary things.
Well, no. What makes you think it's imaginary? How do you know it's imaginary?
Because if God was all powerful, all knowing, we wouldn't have cancer. We wouldn't have all
Hey,
these harmful
Doug, for
things.
the audience, can you
How
ask
do you
him
know
which
that?
commandment
How do you know that
specifies
if he
eating
was
meat?
dead, you wouldn't have cancer?
Wait.
I mean, you would have to be God to know.
No. If he's all good, do you believe he's all good, all powerful, and all
Nobody
knowing?
says God is all good. Only
Yes, they do.
good is
Yes, they
good and
do.
bad is
Yes, they
something that
do.
we
Yes,
came
they
out.
do. I've
Nowhere
never.
in
Yes,
the
they do.
Bible, nowhere
Yes,
in
they
the
do.
word.
Yes, they do.
Show me the word in the Bible.
I've never met a Christian that doesn't say God is all good.
Oh, you can meet. Listen, you can meet a bunch of people who say a lot of things. Show me
Wait a
the
minute.
source.
I'm a
Where does
Christian
it
and
say
I've
that
never
God is
said
all
that.
good?
So you believe in something that you don't believe is all good?
I don't
Here,
think.
hold on. We have multiple verses.
Let me give you that. I'll explain it to you like this. I don't think a carpenter is bound by the same laws that his creation is. In other words, if I created a chair, I'm not bound by the same materials that the chair is made of. If I make the stuff, I'm not bound by it.
Doug,
God
tell him to
created
shut up
good
about
and
the
bad,
chair
let's
and
say.
ask him what
I would
commandment
assume
says
he's
you must
above
eat
that.
meat.
He's above
All right.
that which knows himself.
All right. Let's get away from that for a second. What commandment says that you must eat meat?
There is a commandment to celebrate the Sabbath, and the celebration is broken down. That a celebration must be done with meat and wine.
Where does it say that?
Yes.
Remember the Sabbath and
Everywhere
keep.
where it brings
Remember this. It says
where
remember the
exactly,
Sabbath and keep it holy.
Hold on. Two people are talking at the same time. But Buzzy, remember, he can't hear you when you're talking. I mean, he's talking. I can't hear him.
Oh, I didn't mean to unmute. My bad.
No. You're okay. You're okay. So where does it say that specifically? Where does it say that we have to eat meat? Can you give me?
I can try to pull it up for you if you want. I don't have the specific location, but I'll give you an example of where to look, and you can Google it. Anywhere where it brings up the Sabbath or the blessing of the new moon.
And how does that imply we have to eat meat?
Every holiday.
And how does
and the Passover offering.
How does that imply we have to eat meat? How does that imply we have to eat meat?
Because it says it's not a celebration if there's no meat and no wine. That's literally the word. It's not a celebration if there's no meat and no wine.
I just want to know where it says that. But back to the God being all good. For the Lord is good. For the Lord is good and his love endures forever. His faithlessness continues through all generations. That was, and then we had the next one, James 1:17. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father. I can't hear you if you're speaking. I can't hear you if you're speaking. You're on mute. Coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. And then another one, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him.
Who said this? Is it the Old Testament or New Testament quoting?
Why do you believe in one and not the other?
I believe the original Word of God versus the word that's different in about in the Christian Bible. There's different sects, I'm sure you know, and throughout 2,000 years of history, there's over 150,000 different versions of the New Testament. Happens to be within the last 2,000 years, you can find the Old Testament, 300 years, 400 years old, and word for word, letter by letter, it's exactly the same.
I can't do this. All right, guys. New rule moving forward. We're not using Christianity to justify this. I just can't. It's almost equivalent of you like quoting Harry Potter as to why magic exists. That's how it sounds to me. We just can't do it. We're just on two different wavelengths. With you believe in fairy tales and I don't. I just can't do it anymore. I'm sorry.
Okay, so personally, while I don't hold the position behind you, I say the
Hello?
arguments that are being had make
Can you hear me?
Christians look
Hold on.
Oh,
make Christians look absolutely terrible. As a Christian, also for the ones that are saying that he's all good, even the Bible tells you that he is a jealous God. Like, are y'all okay? Did y'all actually read it, or did you only read the parts that sounded good? Like, the Bible tells you that under certain circumstances, he will tell you to depart from him. He talks
Pokemon.
like it's weird.
Pokemon, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. How old are you?
I'm 28.
Okay. Are you a vegan?
No,
Okay. Why not?
I don't think we should be.
Why not?
I think there should be like a straight line where we care about humans and animals differently.
I'm not. I agree. We probably should give more consideration to humans. I agree with that, but that doesn't mean that we should give zero to other things.
No, but saying that, I think we can eat them.
Okay, based on what?
They're not being human.
Okay, so we should eat it. We can eat a dog.
Yeah.
Okay. Have a
Yeah.
good rest of your day. Take care. The moment they concede to the fact that we can eat a dog or a human, I drop you. Therefore, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man.
So being
I seem to know your
vegan,
age. I seem to know your age. How old are you?
oh yeah, I'm 26.
Okay, cool. All right, what's up?
Yeah, so being vegan is morally superior. Why is that so?
Yeah, I don't think we should. I think we should probably value sentience, and I don't think we should exploit animals. Yeah, I don't think we should exploit animals just for our own desires.
Okay, why should we value sentience?
Well, I think you value sentience as well, but I
Well,
think when it
yes, but
comes,
it's not really my claim, right?
yeah, well, no, I think we value sentience because I think we ought to not do harm to people that have a consciousness that can experience things, that can experience pain and things like that. I don't
Well,
think
yes,
we
but
should.
that's just restating that you value consciousness. I'm asking you why we value that.
Yeah, I just said I don't think we should inflict pain upon people. I don't think we should inflict negative emotions and feelings upon people just for our own selfish sake.
For sure. So conscious beings can feel things, right? Because they're conscious. Why should I value the fact that they can feel things?
What do you mean?
So when you say that things are conscious, and that is valuable because they can experience things with their consciousness, I don't see why I should value that.
But you do, though. You do
Whether
value
I do or
sentience.
whether I do
But
or not doesn't matter. It's your
it
claim.
does. You can't just say I don't see why we should value it if you do value it.
Yeah, sure, but I value it, right, because I'm a Christian. I'm asking why you value it. Because
Oh,
you say that
okay. If
you say it's
are you going to use a Christian argument as to why we shouldn't be vegan?
no, the argument is
Okay.
yours. You made the claim being vegan is a morally superior position. I'm
Okay.
asking you from your position, why is that the case, right? So
Because
we're talking about your position here, not mine.
Right, because I don't think we should, again, harm people that have a consciousness, that have that can experience negative emotions and feelings of pain and things like that. I don't think I should just eat you for my pleasure.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, so I'm asking why. Why should you value that from your position? Why is it important that other things don't feel harm from your position?
Because it's not something that I would want done to me, and I think we should probably
That's
put that value
restating
sign
the
out there.
claim.
Okay.
That's restating the claim, right? You're just saying, once again, that you value things not being hurt. I'm asking you why.
I don't know how else to say it, man.
Yeah, that's so. In essence, are you conceding to the fact that it's not justified?
No.
Okay, so what's the justification?
I've already explained it.
You haven't given me a justification. You've just said.
I'm sorry you don't. I'm sorry you don't like it. I'm sorry you don't like it.
No, you've said that you value things not being hurt, and I've asked you why is that valuable.
Okay, I'll say it again, but you're not going to like it. I think we should minimize harm within society.
Cool. So you just said the same thing again. You just said I don't like things being harmed. Okay.
Goodbye.
What in the philosophy seeking?
I don't know how many different times I can say it.
I can't restate this enough. This is making Christians look insane. As a Christian, you all look insane.
All right, let's get to the next one. All right. Hiking, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. How old are you?
I'm 57.
Okay. And are you, I was about to say, are you sentient? Are you a vegan?
I hope I'm sentient. I am not a vegan.
Okay.
Now,
Why not?
I'm in opposition.
Okay.
Well, I from this standpoint, I have meat in my diet because I think the hemi-iron, the protein and stuff is of value to me. Now, I will say that this is a very tough stance to go against. I mean, meaning your stance, and that's why I took this debate. I want to be as respectful as I can,
Okay,
and get into the morality part. Now, you had said earlier to a guest that we don't want to needlessly harm animals, correct?
yes, correct.
Or some to that degree. Okay, so I understand that we eat meat and we raise these animals to eat for the most part. We're raising them to kill them, to eat them. So I understand your argument of the sentient being. I really do.
Yeah.
But how many animals do we kill to grow crops?
Well, I think overall, if everybody went vegan, we would certainly minimize the amount of overall animals that are harmed, for one. And secondly, I think on an individual basis, we should probably do all that we personally can to minimize harm to things and people and so on and so forth. And I don't think we can control things that are outside of our control for that matter. So whether there's other things being done outside of our choice to minimize harm within our decisions, I think that's sort of irrelevant to the talking point. That makes sense.
Okay, no, I understand. You're saying though that it's a choice to eat meat, right? Now you have to eat something. I totally understand your argument there. You have to eat food. So if you're going to go vegan and not eat sentient, not eat or have any animal products, I do understand that. But does it make it morally better that, for instance, I understand too that most of the crops we grow, we feed those crops to animals to raise them to be eaten. So the animals actually eat more of the crops than we do, and I even understand that. But you've got lots of crops, lots of beans that make tofu, every fruit, every nut. Those are purely grown for us, and we kill thousands of animals to grow those crops, and we don't need to eat almonds. It takes a gallon of water to grow one almond.
Yeah, then don't have almonds on. Yeah, then don't have almonds on. Yeah, then don't have almonds on.
But that's what I'm saying. So where do we draw the line? And what about things like a little bit bigger things like our clothing, plastic, fresh water? Humans are in competition with animals for everything we have. And now, if you consider plastic, I think most of us own plastic. All of us have these phones, and just by us being on this live, we're causing the death of many, many thousands of animals because AI and this kind of platform takes a lot of fresh water.
Yeah, I think, and I think it sounds like somebody mentioned in the comments. I think harm reduction should be the ultimate goal.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, again, if other things or people or whatever the case might be in harm from other things, that's not good. But we should still be able to reduce harm to the best of our personal
Okay.
ability. Does that make
Because
sense?
I will tell you this: you've been very respectful. I listened to another vegan, and I am starting to think about it because you're being very respectful. I want to commend you for that. Because and when I bring up the big picture, the fresh water, the oil fibers and clothing and all the things that we do as human beings that wipe out tons of animals, and I'm wondering where
Yeah.
does the morality begin
Yeah.
and end?
No. I see what you're saying. I see what you're
Uh
saying.
huh.
I get it.
Okay.
But I think if someone has the ability to not engage in consuming, say, one sentient creature for our own selfish needs and wants, I think if we have that ability to do that, if we don't have the
Okay.
ability to do some of the other things that you're talking about, then there's only so much we can do, right? So, like,
Right.
what I'm saying is that veganism would be the unnecessary exploitation of animals.
Okay. Okay.
So, as far as clothing goes, we have to wear clothes. Like, we
Right.
can't just not wear clothes. So, like, if somebody is in a position where they have to eat, meat for whatever reason, then fine, right? Like, you have to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
In that case, it would be necessary for their survival. And
Mm-hmm.
I do think our
Mm-hmm.
survival absolutely holds precedence over other animals' survival.
Okay.
So, whatever we can do to make that happen, I think we should um, we should take priority over that. However,
Okay.
though, if we can engage in things that also save other animals, and it doesn't
Sure.
cause like harm to us, or we don't have to go like so out of our way to make it happen, then I think we should probably engage in that.
Okay. Like no mink coats.
Sure, like that would be an easy thing to not do.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But I do think that there have been a couple of you guys that have gone on their lives, and I think this is a good conversation to have. So I don't want to take any more of your time, but I commend you for coming at this with a little bit of class here.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I appreciate the conversation. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Hope you have a good one, guys. We're looking for opposition, so if you do disagree with the background prompt, come on up. Okay, I'm happy to have a good conversation. Just
Someone asked me what my stance is. It's simple. I do agree that vegan holds a moral superior situation. On the opposite side of that, for me, for a multiple diagnosis, I can't
be
vegan.
morally superior if I don't believe in morals, and morals are subjective.
you don't believe in morals at all?
Nah.
Okay. So how do you decide what is right and what is wrong?
How do I decide what's right and wrong?
Yeah, if you don't have morals.
Well, I don't, because there's no right and wrong.
So how do you decide what to do? Like, would you?
I lick my taint and I call me Sally.
All right, man. Hope you have a good.
Okay. So yeah, to what I was saying, I do believe that being vegan is morally superior. However, for a multitude of reasons, I can't be vegan.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do agree there's moral superiority in veganism. That would be really the only reason for someone to go vegan, especially for a societal standpoint.
Yeah, for sure.
It has to be moral.
Yeah. Hey, weren't you up before?
I was, yes.
Which one are you? What were we talking about?
Therefore, Brenton. I was asking you about your moral position and why it's right or wrong.
Oh, you were that one. Yeah. Was he the one that kept saying I wasn't explaining it?
I believe so.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy.
They all start to run together.
I don't know how many times I had to explain to him it. User, what's up?
What's up, mate?
Hey, how old are you?
22.
Okay. And are you a vegan?
I am not, but I completely agree. Considering Scott Pilgrim, the vegans have superpowers, and they are way superior.
All right, man. '21st, how you doing?
Good.
Okay. How old are you?
What's up? I'm 23.
Okay. And are you a vegan?
I mean, depends on how you define it. I mean, I eat meat. I think it's okay to purchase animal products. You know,
What was that last part that you said?
I think it's okay to purchase animal products.
Okay. What do you mean? Like, give me an example.
Like fish, like most fish. Or most, I think it would be okay to eat like alligators. Probably okay to eat, you know, basically any animal that's going to eat other animals. Seems like we'd be preventing rights violations by eating those animals, right?
Wait, we would be preventing rights violation? What do you mean?
By unaliving like predatory animals, yeah.
Okay, so wait. So what do you mean by predatory animal? So like it would be okay to unalive an alligator, but not a cow?
Not a sheep, yeah. Be okay to unalive an alligator.
Okay,
right.
so
you'd be okay with unaliving an alligator if it was gonna unalive a human, I assume.
In Florida, it's illegal to unalive. You know what? Never mind.
Yeah, again, we're talking about the unnecessary exploitation of animals. So
do you consider it necessary if a human's life is at risk?
Yes.
Do you consider it necessary if an animal's life is at risk?
Give me an example.
An alligator is going to eat a rabbit.
And you want me to unalive which one?
The alligator, for the same reason you would save a human, or at least a vegan, hopefully.
No, I don't think that would be I don't think that would be a justification for it.
What's the
Seems
difference
like the
between
circle of life.
What's the difference between the rabbit and the human, such that it's okay to save one but not the other?
Yeah, I think we definitely have a lot more moral consideration than other animals do. I think humans in general have a lot more moral consideration.
Okay.
I don't think
more moral consideration.
I don't think gators, for example, would be held to the same moral consideration as humans. Like,
So,
even remotely
I'm not
close.
saying that they would, right?
But you're using the example of a gator. So a gator is an opportunistic eater. Do you know what an opportunistic eater is?
Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, a rabbit going along a bank or even running along a golf course, if you're here in Florida, and the gator eats the rabbit, that would be within the gator's line of options for things that he would eat. A gator is an opportunistic eater. It's going to eat whatever is available to it.
I understand that, but you would still take lethal force if it was sufficiently likely that if it was going to unalive a toddler, even though it's an opportunistic hunter or whatever. So
what's the difference between the toddler and the rabbit?
Huh?
What's the difference between the toddler and the rabbit?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. To me, I agree humans are worthy of more moral consideration on average. I'm not convinced that...
Does a rabbit have sentience?
Yes, of course.
What kind of sentience? How would you describe a rabbit's sentience?
It could see colors. It could hear things. It can, form thoughts and, plan to some limited degree.
And what proof do we have of that? To what extent is it viable?
That they can hear and see things and plan.
And what is the proof?
Shouldn't be controversial, right?
Of that?
That what? That which one of those? Is it controversial that they can see, or you're not convinced that they can think that if a predator is heading in my direction, I should move in this other direction?
Yeah, I want you to tell me what's the proof of the sentience of a rabbit. Where's the research that tells us about a sentient rabbit?
Like, host, you're not convinced of this, that a rabbit is sentient?
I don't know the sentience of a rabbit off the top of my head.
I'm not
But
saying that it's very high sentience. It's probably very low. Of course, it could still hear things.
So that would be the difference between a rabbit and a toddler.
Okay. If there was a disabled person who had the sentience of a rabbit, would it be wrong to defend them from an alligator?
That's illogical and inaccurate. Try again.
Okay. What law of logic is being violated? That's a very obvious question that somebody would ask if you think that the level of sentience is what matters.
A human would not have the same thought process of a rabbit, no matter how you look at it. So again,
I'm
try
asking
again.
you to imagine that a human
I'm not
did.
going to imagine something that's illogical.
All right, maybe I'll
and
get somewhere with the
improbable.
host instead then.
no,
So
I
host,
don't. Yeah. I don't think we should be unaliving sentient creatures if
me
it's at all
neither.
necessary. Right. So I don't disagree that we should be unaliving. That we shouldn't be unaliving rabbits.
Yeah, but of course, if a human had the same level of sentience as a rabbit, it would still be okay to unalive the alligator to save that severely disabled person, right?
Yeah, and I don't think we should be intervening within nature either.
But you are okay when it comes to our species.
Yes.
You are okay with
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I value humans more than other animals. Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's fine. You could stay consistent and value humans more than animals. I'm wondering, what does something need to have to where it's all of a sudden wrong to defend them? Because it's not just humans, right? If we were to find out that black people or something didn't have human DNA, you would still be okay with defending them from alligators, right?
What?
If any race or group of people were to if you were to find out that they aren't technically biologically human, you would still be okay with defending them from anything else because you don't actually care about
But
whether
then
or
they
not
wouldn't be
something's...
human then. They wouldn't be
I know,
human
and
then.
that's the point. That's the point. You still protect them. So it's not just being human you care about. You don't actually think that you need to be human for all of a sudden, this is the thing you need for it to be okay for us to defend you from predators. Because even if there were aliens or something else, right, you would still say, look, we're not going to let you just get eaten by an alligator. We're not going to punish you or anything if you defend them from alligators, right?
I'm confused. I don't think we should be unaliving any sentient creatures. If
But
it's at
Doug,
all.
you don't... Okay, the question is when you consider it necessary. And you consider it necessary when it comes to humans. And I'm showing you, hold on a minute, Doug. It's not only necessary when it comes to humans, because if there were aliens, or if, like I said before, if we were to find out some race or group of people didn't have human DNA, right? They wouldn't be humans, like you correctly pointed out. But you wouldn't consider it all of a sudden unnecessary if I see one of these people being attacked by an alligator for me to act on their behalf, right?
I don't. Maybe we're talking past each other.
Come on, I know you understood what I said, dude.
Nothing you're saying, I disagree. I don't understand what you're trying to argue.
Circles. He's talking in circles.
You're saying
purposely not reaching a conclusion.
So Doug, if again it were to come to the aliens, right? If it were to come to like Superman or something, right? We see one of the members of his species being attacked by an alligator. Would it be unnecessary for me to go and unalive the alligator in that instance?
If an alien was being attacked by an alligator.
Right, like Superman, right? A very specific alien, and he's very similar to humans, right? It would probably be okay to unalive the alligator, right? Or no?
I don't think Superman would be in danger of being harmed by an alligator.
Okay, clearly you're missing the point, right? If he didn't have superpowers, right, it would be okay to defend him from the alligator, even though he's not human, technically, biologically. We have a bunch of
Does he have every
Kryptonians,
traits of that of a human?
except for the DNA, yeah.
Great. Then he has something that I value within a human. They have that sentience that humans have.
Okay, so it's not being human, it's having a high level of sentience makes it okay to defend
No.
you
That's what
from.
it always was. It was always a high level of sentience. It's just humans happen to have that higher level of sentience.
Okay, so
But
if you
sure, if
find
there's other creatures that also have that, then sure, I think
I understand.
I think their more consideration should be. I think they
But
should be
then,
morally considered.
the obvious problem is when there's a human of very low sentience, right, comparable to that of an animal, let's say, it all of a sudden it would follow that they wouldn't be worthy of that consideration, such that it would be permissible to save them from alligators. And I know you understand what I'm saying.
You're not
sure
saying
you
any. You are
You're
not
not
saying anything.
saying anything I disagree with, though.
Well, Doug, there's the problem, right? So wait a minute. So you think that if an alligator was attacking a severely disabled person, right, that is of very low sentience, maybe lower than that of a deer or something like that, would it be wrong for me to unalive the alligator to save that disabled person? He has low sentience.
Again, I don't disagree. Yes, we should be
There's
saving
not
it.
a disabled person
Well,
that would
then
have
that's a
low sentience. This
contradiction,
is so
Doug.
stupid.
Then that's a
There's
contradiction
not a
because you
disabled
said,
person that would have low sentience.
Doug, what is the difference between that severely disabled person and a
There is
deer?
not a disabled person that would have low sentience. This is, again,
Okay,
illogical.
Buzzy.
Who would have
Making
that low level of
ableist, being
sentience?
illogical and making ableist arguments is odd.
Doug. Okay, just imagine.
I'm not imagining something that's illogical.
Oh my God! So you can't engage in second
Because it's
grade
illogical.
level.
There is. I'm not Philbroing this. It's illogical.
You could
It makes
keep
no
calling
sense.
it illogical. You could keep calling it illogical.
Because it is illogical, like the people in the comment section have been telling you. It is illogical.
It's
It
just
makes
a
no sense. It's
hypothetical.
not a situation that would ever occur in your lifetime, in
man.
anybody's lifetime.
All right. I thought that we were able to engage in, a second grade level, at least, level of discussion here.
If you want to
Obviously,
have
if
a
somebody,
logical discussion, we can have one, but hypotheticals
Buzzy,
based on illogical arguments make no sense.
Buzzy, if somebody says you need to have, if you have a horn, it's okay to unalive you, right? Anything that has a horn, it's okay to unalive. I ask them, is it okay to unalive a rhino? They say, yep, it has a horn. It meets the criteria. If I were to ask that person if unicorns existed, would it be okay to unalive them? What would their answer have to be logically consistent, right? They would have to say, yeah. Now, it's not the case that unicorns actually exist or that's something that's actually ever going to happen. Simply testing the principle. That's all I'm doing here.
You have clearly never taken a college class. There's no way.
So, what would that person's answer have to be with regards to the unicorn? Clearly, it would have to be yes, right? If you said anything that has a horn, we could unalive. If unicorns existed, it would fall within that criteria. Anyways, Doug, you said the level of sentience matters. Clearly, you don't believe that, right? Because if somebody has very low sentience levels, I honestly, Doug, there's people with encephaly that have very low IQs, lower IQs than pigs, lower IQs than many animals. If those people were threatened by alligators, would it be okay to unalive them?
Again, I still think we shouldn't be harming anything that's sentient if we can at all help it.
Yeah,
I don't know how many times I have to say this.
But Doug, you think it would be okay?
And IQ and sentience are not the same thing. This is ableism and illogical. This is so stupid.
You think it would be okay
Again,
to
and
unalive?
IQ and sentience do not have the same thing. You can't even put that in a thought experiment because it makes no sense. This is stupid. Go take a college class and read a book.
Anyways, man, somebody disliked you so much they paid to kick you.
Take a college class and read a book. This is ridiculous.
Guys, let's have a W. Tammy in the comments says, I don't have more than a second grade education, so please kick to Phil, bro. Thank you, Tammy, so much. Jesus. I see sort of what he was trying to get at, but he wasn't saying anything I disagree with, though. That was the issue.
I don't see what he was trying to get at, because making illogical statements and trying to prose it as a thought experiment is stupid, and clearly you've never taken a college class. Read a book, comprehend, and then be better.
And I want to state that, like, being a vegan doesn't mean that we're obligated to save every single animal out there. It just means that we choose to not be a part of it. That's it. That's all it would be if someone were to be a vegan.
Between the Phil Bros and the Christians, this is baffling, truly.
Yeah, so if somebody wanted to save that, then they can, but I don't think we're obligated to do that. Banana, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Doug?
Good, man. I'm doing great. How old are you?
33.
All right. And are you a vegan?
I was for a little bit, and then I went back to meat.
Did we speak before? Or no?
We've spoken about a year ago.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while.
So why did you switch back?
I don't know. I just like the B12 was the hardest thing, right? Getting a good source of B12.
How come you just didn't supplement it?
I don't know. I find the supplements aren't really, like the B12 supplements, like how they're extracted per se. Like unless I was like to actually go through the process and do it myself, but it's not that healthy.
What's
and it's not even the methylated form. It doesn't even like break down properly. Like and then.
So what's the difference between supplementing B12 and getting it from food? What's the difference at the end of the day within the human body?
I think just bio. I can't even talk right now. Bioavailability.
Yeah, it is bioavailable. When vegans supplement B12, their B12 levels are fine.
Which one do you take? Methylated version, or which one do you take?
Well, I'm not a vegan, actually.
You're not a vegan? Okay.
I'm not a vegan, so I don't need to supplement it. But no, I mean, if somebody were a vegan, yeah, they can easily supplement.
I take B12, and it's just something that my body does not produce a lot of, and processes quickly. So I take it via injection from a vial, self-administered.
Oh, okay. Like if I think if like our systems had like proper we had proper methylation, we had proper digestion, we had proper everything, then we could just like our body does produce small amounts of B12, and we would actually be able to live off of that. We actually wouldn't even need it at all. We could literally just be vegan completely, because we are frugivores in reality. But it's just hard because everyone's on like this North American diet, and it's just got such an acidic diet, and just leads to a lot of acidosis in the body. So I don't know.
Okay.
I think vegan is morally superior, but I also think vegan is just a healthier option in general, just because unfortunately dairy and meat, well, any animal product is very acidic, right? So
see that I disagree with. I don't think being a vegan is inherently healthier than not. I think on average vegans are healthier, but I think vegans on average also exercise more, and they tend to just choose healthier options. But I think easily somebody can be very, very healthy and not be a vegan. I don't think those two are mutually exclusive, personally.
Like flesh itself it's very bioavailable, and it has a good absorption rate, but it takes a long time to break down, and a lot of it just sits in the gut for a long time. And then that leads to congestion, which then backs up the lymphatic system, and then the lymphatic system gets clogged, and then your colon gets backed up, and then it leads to a lot of issues.
Do you have evidence of that? What you're saying do you have evidence of that? That when somebody eats any animal products, that happens?
Well, we know the byproduct of it, right? The cell's got to get rid of the metabolic waste, right? And it's got a lot of acid.
What has a lot of acid? Give me a specific example of an animal-based product that has a lot of acid.
All animal products. And any animal byproduct.
Wait. Our stomach acid is more acidic than anything you'll ever eat. So why would that be an issue?
Yeah, but it's got to go through the digestive tract.
So
That's not as someone that has malabsorption, that is not an issue as assigned by my doctor. To the person in the comment that responded to me saying that I give myself self-administered B12 and saying single-use plastics. So the thing I use to administer my medication is made of glass. If you self-administer medication via a syringe and you don't want to use the plastic ones, you can ask your doctor to give you a prescription to medical supply, and you too can have glass ones. You can also order them yourselves from Amazon, I've heard. So, up to you.
anything else?
So yeah, when you digest like any animal product, so let's say meat, for example, right? The high levels of sulfur containing amino acids like methylene and cysteine get oxidized by the body, and that metabolic process creates metabolic waste, which is acids, which is literally sulfuric acid, which then buffer and excrete from those cells. And the problem is if your lymphatic system's not working properly and it can't move it throughout the body and get rid of it, then it stays on the outside of those cells and it just starts affecting cells because it starts burning away at them. And then that's what creates acidosis in the body.
Do you have any evidence to back this up other than mechanistic theories?
Honestly, I'm not a biochemist and I'm not a doctor, so I can't talk too much on this, just about what I've kind of researched. But there is one person, a biochemist I do follow. His name is Dr. Yaki. And you could go look him up and he could tell you all about this.
Okay, I'm not aware of any outcome-based research that shows people eating animal-based products as part of an otherwise healthy diet would cause any negative health effects.
Well, he's
So
a
if that guy has
biochemist,
it,
right? So he could break down the science for it. I can't because I'm not a biochemist. So
okay. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. Take care.
Okay, to the person in the comment section talking about plastic in the medical field, I won't argue that the medical field doesn't have a lot of plastics because a lot of things are sterilized and they do come specially wrapped. In my statement specifically, I'm talking about how I have reduced that by using glass syringes via prescription from my doctor. Now, I know that is not an affordable option for everybody, and I do have the privilege of insurance, and I do have a flexible spending account as part of my insurance that I pay for every month, and I do make the extra expense to do that. However, there are people that need access to medications and things that require the plastic supplies because they are affordable, and in some cases it's the only thing that their insurance will allow, which would be something for you to take up with corporations and not people. So I think that medical waste is a reasonable expense.
There's some idiot in YouTube that says I'm being ableist because the title implies that everyone has the accessibility or personal health requisites to be vegan. Making it an ethical dilemma is ableist and classist.
That's a stretch.
It's a huge stretch.
So
I don't know. First of all, my definition of veganism is the unnecessarily exploitation of animals. If you have health reasons as to why you shouldn't, or there are monetary reasons, or whatever the case might be, then it's unnecessary, or it would be necessary in that case. I don't know how this is being classless or ableist, but sure, Ragnar, you're welcome to say that. That helps make yourself feel better.
The statement involving morality means it's already opinion-based, that it is not a fact or actuality. It is already an opinion when we talk about morals, and morals are subjective to the people that we are talking about. Therefore, I'm not seeing how they reach this conclusion, but I mean, maybe.
Yeah, John, I don't give a shit. like John, I don't give a fuck if you eat meat, or that is your choice to do that. Like I think it's really funny how people come in here and think, oh, I'm gonna do a gotcha and say I'm gonna eat twice the amount of burgers because this person's a vegan, or I'm wearing a leather coat. Look at that. Like, okay, I don't give a shit. You're I understand like what you're trying to do. You're trying to do some sort of gotcha thing. You're trying to do like own the libs type of thing. I don't give a fuck, dude. Ragnar Rocket, you are welcome to come on up and tell me why I'm being ableist. Until then, I think you're just rage baiting. As a vegetarian, I actually don't care what other people eat. Yeah, go for it. Like, just you eating twice the amount of bacon to make up for somebody being vegan. Okay, I understand you think that's funny, but like.
I mean, the other thing is, my stance on it again is that being the only reason to be vegan is amoral, especially the way that society is set up currently. Like, the only reason to be vegan is immoral, especially now, because a lot of products that would be considered vegan are very expensive. It is classified as a specialty diet, and they are very, very expensive because there are still other nutrients and things you need outside of a vegan, or a lot of people go raw vegan diet. So that requires additional supplements that are also not cheap, especially now in this current economy. So yeah, it would have to be morality that would lead people to doing this, that or a health reason that causes that.
Yeah, Jay Torrell, you saying so. I mentioned I'm not a vegan, so they said, "Oh, you're just as immoral as carnivores." Yeah, in that position, yes, I do think vegans have a morally superior position than to me in that specific activity. Yes, that's fine. I'm not perfect, and neither are you. You engage in things all the time that you probably aren't think are the best for you or society. You wouldn't be human otherwise. That would imply that you never make mistakes or you never do anything wrong.
So FTA, I can't speak for everybody because I don't know everybody's experience. When I had to go vegan per my doctors, when we were trying to figure some things out with my health, in fact, I was told that I needed to take supplemental products. Now, that might not be the experience for everybody, but I do know other people that had similar circumstances that also were vegan or vegetarian and were required to take supplements by their doctors based off of what their lab work was showing. Now, could that be that they weren't eating adequate enough of whatever? Yes, but I don't know that would be the case for the majority.
I don't know how to pronounce her name. Dilla, I don't know. Guest? You're on mute if you're trying to speak.
Hey, how's it going tonight?
Hey, it's going, man. How old are you?
21.
Okay, what's up?
All right, so just want to talk to you about veganism here. I'm going to come at this from a theological approach and a physical fitness approach. Starting off the theological approach, I think that humans are made in the eyes of God and animals are not. So that's the theological approach, and then from the fitness.
Yeah, let's talk about the other one because it's I just don't believe in God. I don't believe in the Bible, so it's just gonna be hard to have that conversation. So just
gotcha.
Try to skip
completely understood.
That. Yeah, so
I get that. Okay. So from the fitness aspect, I would say that humans are naturally omnivores, so that meat benefits them and it helps their bodies flourish. And animals are at a lower level of sentience. So I would say that you're morally justified in eating animals because we as humans need it to be healthy, as well as these animals they're on a lower level of sentience as us, so they are not really.
What is it that is an animal meat that we have to have that we cannot get from animal-based or from plant-based products?
Well, it's not so much that we can't get them from plant-based products. It's bioavailability is far more difficult. You know, eating these vegan products, you know, they're not going to flourish us the same way. They have chemicals in them, and they're incredibly unnatural.
Well, everything's a chemical. Water is a chemical. So you say there's chemicals in them, just it's sort of meaningless. What
Okay.
chemicals are harmful? Like it sounds like you're implying they're harmful chemicals. What harmful ones are you talking about?
Well, what I'm trying to say is I couldn't bring up every single harmful chemical in fake meat, but I
Yep.
will say that real meat does reap more benefits. It's more bioavailable. There's more B12. There's more creatine, carnitine. There's so many incredible nutrients that we can only find in red meat. So to not eat that is just detrimental to ourselves.
Well, no, I mean, and I'm going to quote some research over here, but yeah, well, I do agree on average, animal plant-based products are less bioavailable and have a lower protein digestibility corrected amino acid score. When we do look at like the overall outcome of muscle growth, when people are getting enough variety of plant-based protein, we actually don't see any less strength gains or muscle growth at all, so long as you're just getting enough variety, and you can easily supplement B12.
It's very true. You're able to supplement B12 and you're able to supplement these other things. However, taking a pill, taking multiple pills to hit your vitamins, I don't think is worth it. We were given these. We were given
Good.
animals. Oh, sorry. Are you there?
No, good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I kind of just lost my train of thought there. Briefly, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think, I think yes, it probably is easier to get enough protein if you're having animal-based products. And number one, I want to say that I'm not a vegan actually, so I do eat animal products. But so I do agree it's easier. If I were to be vegan, it would probably be a bit more difficult. But I don't think that's a good enough excuse. And I'm going to say that for myself. I would say if I made the excuse that it's harder to get protein, I would just say that's just a shitty excuse for myself.
Gotcha.
Personally.
And also, but why do you think it's morally superior? Because animals are, animals are provided on this earth, and for us eating them, they have multiple benefits, and also they have a far less level of sentience than we do. So I don't think it's comparable with killing any people. It's for our benefit,
Yeah, so if there was a human that had the sentience of like say a cow, because cows would or pigs rather have the sentience like equivalent to like a 2 or 3 year olds. So if a human had that low level of sentience, should we be allowed to eat them?
No, of course not. But I will say that they have the potential to get higher levels of sentience, and also cows and humans are completely different things, completely different organisms. One is brother.
I know they are, but if you're doing it off the basis of sentience, and there are some people who are born with some very heavy disabilities where their sentience in the sense that you're referring to may not be that of the average human, and I don't think you'd be okay with eating that human being by any means.
No, you're absolutely right. I wouldn't. But what I will say is that animals and humans, humans are apex predators, and for us to remove meat from our diet would be just detrimental to us as a whole. I mean, do you really think that supplementing for every single meal is healthy?
I don't see what the inherent difference would be in one's health.
Well, I mean, it would just be you'd be taking pills after pills after pills when
you just need to take B12. That's one pill.
So you think that if one were to just take all of their multivitamins and then just have bread all day, they'd be the same person, and just refrain from meat, they just eat tofu and bread, you think they would be the same level of health?
No, for multitude of reasons. Number one, multivitamins, you don't seem to be able to get the same amount of bioavailability from those by any means whatsoever. And there are many other things in food that you have to be able to get. You have to be able to get all the vitamins and minerals that you're not going to be able to get from a multivitamin, the protein sources, the amount of calories, fiber. So yeah, you do have to eat a wide variety of foods, of which you can't just get from a multivitamin.
I see. Okay. I don't know. I feel like humans possess higher rational capacities than animals do. I don't know. I
agree. I agree.
And I think that helps justify us eating them. I think that really just allows us to get away with that, And nature's hierarchical.
Wait, so if we have, because we have a higher, was it intellectual capacity you said? Or what was the word you said?
No, higher. I said higher rational capacity.
So if there's a human that has a very low rational capacity, it would be okay to eat them?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay.
But I don't think it's just about them being human versus. I don't think it's just about that. That's obviously one aspect that comes into play. And cows are. Let's just use cows for instance. They are made up of a completely different. They're made up of a different worth than we are. I mean, there's key distinctions in how cows and humans are made. There's different moral fibers with each of them, and I think that to ignore that is just to be ignorant.
What do you mean by moral fibers?
I mean, I'm really just trying to say that I'm not really trying to say moral fibers here. That was kind of a misstep. Sorry. I apologize.
No, you're good. I just don't think there's a moral justification to be eating them, and this is coming from somebody who does, and I think I'm in the wrong for doing it. And there's certainly some cognitive dissonance going on there, but I just don't think there's a rational justification for it. And I did for the longest time. I used that same arguments, but I just don't think that plays out. I think I was sort of being dishonest with myself when I said that, rather than me just accepting, hey, I do this. I don't think it's good to do it, but I do it anyways.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. I was just curious about your position.
Yeah.
Just want to come on here. Appreciate you for your time.
Yeah, man. For sure, man. Take care. Okay.
You as well. Bye.
Yeah, and here's a let me scroll up over here. So this is animal protein versus plant protein in supporting lean mass and muscle strength, a systematic review and a meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials. And we can get to the next guest in just a minute. This one looked at 3,081 articles. And then a total of 18 of them were selected for the systematic review. 16 were used for the meta-analysis. And what they found was, let me pull this up over here. What they found was that favoring of animal protein on percent lean mass, that there was no influence on the results at all. I can go down to the conclusion too for it. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, so even though that there's a general consensus that animal protein is a potent stimulator of muscle protein synthesis, which I agree, the effective protein source on lean mass, I don't know how to pronounce that, accretion over time, and the potential influence of RET, I don't know what that is, in age has not been systematic review, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so lean mass was not shown to be affected by protein source in our meta-analysis. Blah, blah, blah. So anyways, and we can go more into it. And they found a significant gain in both absolute and lean body mass with both animal protein and the plant protein as well. So there wasn't like a statistical difference between the two. And that was something I bought into for the longest time as well, that you're going to get more muscle growth with animal products as opposed to plant-based. And that just doesn't seem to be true. Henry, what's going on?
Yo, what's up? So you're vegan?
No, I'm not. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm not a vegan.
Oh, so you're not morally superior?
In this specific action, I am not. No.
Why aren't you vegan?
I just don't care enough.
But you're arguing that it's morally superior?
Yep.
That's very interesting.
No, I would argue that you do things in your life that you probably don't think are the best either. I would argue that you've lied before. You told me you did. You've lied vegan, before, right? So. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. So we can have that discussion. That's fine. I think insinuating that everybody has to do everything that they think is best is a little silly. I just like, there are people who lie, right? And we know lying is probably not a good thing to do. There's people that have cheated on other people before, but we know that's probably not the best thing to be doing. We're humans. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we do things that we just aren't believing are the best. Does that make sense? You know?
True, yeah, I would say so.
So yeah, I think it would be better if I was. I just don't have that strong enough desire at this point to do so, and I think that's something I could probably and should work towards. But yeah, I think there's some cognitive dissonance going on there with myself for sure.
So Buzzy, you would disagree with that?
Yeah, I don't think she's. Well, no, actually, I think she. Well, go ahead, Buzzy. I don't want to speak for you.
Hi. No, I am not vegan. I did at some point have to follow a vegan diet when we were going through some dietary changes for my health. And we determined that actually, health-wise, I can't be a vegan. However, I do believe that the only reason to be vegan, societal-wise now, the way that it works, would be because of some sort of moral complex that a person has. It is oftentimes more expensive because it is considered a specialty diet, especially now in this economy. So I believe that if you are being a vegan, it's got to be because of your own moral clauses.
Not about health?
If that's what you believe health to be, there are people that came in here before you that don't believe that the healthiest diet is vegan. My doctors actually don't believe that the healthiest diet for you is vegan. Because
you listen to a doctor about health? Fuck no.
That sounds like a personal problem that I don't have.
I would never listen to a doctor about my health.
I would never listen to a person on TikTok about my own.
Maybe if I had a broken bone, I would let them fix it, or maybe
so that's your health.
If I was,
that's your health.
Oh, yo, Kobe. Oh wait, never mind. Wait, what'd you say?
That's your health if you have a broken bone.
Okay, I meant like not my I meant how do I say it? I meant diet.
Yeah, you should probably refer to like a nutritionist or a dietitian.
Oh, I would not refer to them either. No one that's being paid.
I don't have that issue.
Everybody's paid. That's how you have to survive in society.
Nobody that's being paid to talk about nutrition. I mean,
where do you get your information from? Because everybody that you get nutritional information is getting paid.
Oh, I don't get nutritional information from anybody.
So you just make it up as you go?
No, I just read read the ingredients and shit.
And then how do you determine if those ingredients are good for you or not?
Well, because I just know my shit, you know?
Goodbye. TikTok, how you doing? TikTok, how you doing? Okay. Oh, yeah. It depends on if you mean a literal minute or if you mean like a figurative minute. Talk your stuff, Brie. Luke, what? What?
Okay, wait. So,
how old are you?
So, like,
how old are you?
I'm 14.
Nope. Goodbye.
Oh.
What? You know that you can't come up, dude. Like, don't pretend that you didn't know that. Oh my gosh. Jesus Christ. Guys, we're looking for ops, okay? Disagree with the background prompt, come on up. And once again, guys, I am not a vegan, okay? I just believe it's a morally superior position, even though I am not one. I've yet to hear a really good argument against it. A satisfying enough argument.
Fair point. A lot of the arguments against it, at least since I've been watching your live and in your live, have been questionable at best.
I've had multiple. I'll get to you in 1 second. I'll get to you in 1 second.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, you're good. I've already heard multiple people on this live admit that it's okay to eat humans and or dogs. I've heard that argument multiple times. Yeah,
that's the angle that I'm coming for, where it's like it's wild, and then also the theologians. That's interesting.
What's up, Bo? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? Sorry, I left the app for a minute to pull research for Buzz about cost comparisons between plant-based diets versus like mixed diets. I did pop the PubMed ID for you in the chat if you did want to go check it out. There's a lot of misinformation. So if you're into empirical data, I do recommend checking it out. Just to learn more about it.
What was her position? Because I may disagree with what she said. What is it that she said that you're
she said that plant-based diets are more expensive when they actually did the analysis.
Yeah.
It turns out to be like 15 to like 30% less.
I actually agree with you. I used to believe the same thing as well, that it was more expensive, but the data does show you actually do save money. Now, you would have to shop intelligently, right? Because there are vegan products that are certainly more expensive. So if you didn't know how to shop, then sure. But I think if somebody was shopping intelligently, they absolutely would save money. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think the biggest thing is just like novelty items. The novelty items are obviously going to be what's expensive, but they're definitely not required. I mean, the majority of the diet that we...
I agree.
Yeah. I just wanted to provide them the research, just if they were interested.
No, that's good. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So I will look at it because from what I've seen over the years, and I haven't looked at it recently, but this was years ago when I had to be vegan myself, living in a rural area, it largely depended on where you were. And
I live in North... Oh, sorry, go ahead. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, so for the months that I was in like California and New York and in Toronto, because I had to do it for like half a year when we were just trying to assess things. For the months that I was in California and New York and Canada, it was easier rather than being in the rural area that I live in. So I think I would say that it probably largely depends on where you live from what I've seen. So I'm interested to see what the research actually says.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I live in north central Arkansas. It's like the most food deserty of the food deserts in like the United States. And I can tell you, at least from my anecdotal experience, that if I were to consume animal products right now, it would like cost me significantly more than I'm currently like paying on groceries and stuff just in general. But yeah, I recommend checking out the research. But Doug, I wanted to say, I understand your position or like your current state of affairs is that you're not a vegan, but I do appreciate you hosting the prompt. It's just been something I've actually been interested in discussing, people in your situation who align with the ethics, but I think the terms acrasia, they just like can't find the motivation to actually make the jump within their actions.
That's
so I
where
was wondering if you, wondering if
Good.
you'd be interested in just kind of like maybe breaking down your perspective, just so I can kind of get better at having these discussions with people in your situation.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I already agree that it's obviously it's a morally superior position. Again, I don't have a good excuse, really. I have every means to be a vegan. I don't. I have all the resources. I have enough. I mean, not that I make a lot of money, but I have enough money to do so. I'm not in a food desert by any means. There's 5 grocery stores all within 2 miles of me. I'm in Tampa, meaning I'm in an area where it's not like a heavily conservative area by any means. There's more than enough like vegan options here. The motivation is just not really there for me, in the sense that like I just don't get that negative feedback when I do eat animal-based products, such as when we do. And I've already said this, so sorry for repeating myself for other people. When I do something that I find to be wrong, generally speaking, I get an inherent negative feedback. Right? Like if I, oh gosh, I don't know. If I lie to somebody that I care about, I feel bad about it, right? It feels wrong. And that's a motivation enough for me to like try not to do that moving forward, even though I'm not perfect. When it comes to eating animal-based products, I just don't get that like negative emotion inside of me that like I want to avoid, even though intellectually I know it's probably not the best thing to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I totally understand. So I guess like I would just to confirm, it's just more kind of apathetic to that specific action.
Yeah,
that's fine. I mean, like I totally understand what you're coming from. I guess like maybe a perspective I can share, not to get too personal. Like I'm a GWAT veteran, right? I served in combat, like in combat, and I ended up getting pretty like conditioned to like violence with other humans. So like stuff like that does like I don't get a gut reaction when I see stuff like that.
Sure.
So I guess like maybe my question would be, do you think it's just maybe some sort of conditioning that might be like giving that apathy? Because like,
Yes, I do.
yeah, yeah.
I do,
Okay.
because not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but yeah,
No, go
I mean,
ahead.
we grow up in a society. I grew up in a society within the U.S. where it's not really frowned upon to not be a vegan, right? It's just sort of part of society. It's always been accepted. It's always been around me and us, and I just and I think if I grew up in a society where it was far less accepted, I probably would have different views. Somebody mentioned in the comments earlier that in Africa, I don't remember what country, but maybe in many countries in Africa, they I don't want to misspeak here, but they cut off a woman's like clitoris because they believe
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
whatever. So and so if you grew up in that society, you would think that's okay, right? So like I guess that's where I'm sort of at with things. It's just I grew up in a society where it was just okay, and it's really hard to deconstruct from that, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
FTA, that was
agree
you.
with
Yeah.
you. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty sympathetic to that because obviously I grew up in the same society, propaganda, like heavy conditioning, just with like not just diet, but just like with everything, politics and all that stuff. So I guess I can understand that. My question to that would be, if you were to talk to somebody else, or maybe yourself, like if you were to talk to a version of yourself that you found like was apathetic to something that you currently do get a gut reaction to, what would you say to them maybe that might like, I don't know, have some sort of influence? Have you thought of anything like that?
That's actually a really good question. It's a very good question. Give me an example of something that like I probably would have a gut reaction towards.
So I mean, like I'm not trying to appeal to emotion or anything, so don't take it that way. But maybe
No,
something
you're
like
good.
child abuse, right?
For sure. Okay, yeah. Obviously, I believe that's a bad thing. Shit, that's a really good question.
And listen,
Uh,
if you can't answer, I'm not going to press you. Maybe just think about it, right?
yeah.
Like, I didn't come here to like really press you or put you on the spot. I was
No,
genuinely
no.
interested.
You're okay. You're okay. Honestly, man, I'd probably have to sit and think on that of how I would address that person to sort of. Oh shit, what's up, Eric? How you doing, man? Tell him to say hi back. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would have to sit and think on that one. I really would.
Yeah, no,
If
that's
I'm gonna be
fine. I
honest.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's fine. Like, I can accept that. And I mean, that's pretty much all I have. Like, if we got there and I gave you something to just kind of think about and consider, I think it was a good short conversation, and I appreciate you having me up.
Yeah,
But
yeah, for sure.
before I go, do you have any questions for me?
Not at the moment, but I certainly would like to talk to you moving forward or sometime in the future. Let me give you a follow actually, because I
Cool,
probably will
yeah.
have some questions. Yeah.
Awesome, definitely. Yeah, and thanks for hosting this, even though it's not your current state of affairs. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yep.
I appreciate it. Have a good
Take
one.
care of
Okay, take care.
yourself. Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just for anybody just joining, once again, just not to keep saying it, I myself am not a vegan. Okay, I'm not a vegan. I understand reading this, everybody's gonna automatically assume I am. I'm not a vegan. I'm just not. That's what me and that guy were just talking about. It is not a usual topic. It's definitely a different topic than ones I've done.
No, I enjoy when people come up with thought-provoking sentiments.
Yeah, that was a really good question. I would have to. It would be hard not to get angry at that person, if I'm going to be honest. It would be hard not to get angry at somebody that doesn't think child abuse is a bad thing. Yeah, Leah, it was. So, just to give insight, like since I was saying I'm not a vegan, yet I believe it's a morally superior position to be one. He said, "What would you say to somebody who, if you had a negative gut reaction towards something, say just like eating animals, right? If you had a negative gut reaction towards something, what would you say to that person who doesn't have that negative gut reaction to help get them on your side? Like, for example, child abuse. Like, I inherently believe child abuse is wrong. I get a negative gut reaction when I see it or when somebody talks about it, right? Just inherently. I don't even have to think about it to get that negative gut reaction. If I spoke with somebody who didn't get that, what would I do to help convince them?
if I'm being honest, right? Like I was thinking about his question, but it brought me back to what I do career-wise. So in my career, I have had the opportunity to work with a lot of people that were either young and on their way to a diagnosis of being a sociopath or were a diagnosed sociopath. With that, there comes certain traits. And I do want to state this off by saying that I don't believe that sociopaths are bad. But it's something, empathy is not really something that you can teach someone. So if someone is telling me that they can't see why something lining abuse is bad, I am not going to try to convince them to be on my side. I would start looking at other portions of their personality and seeing what is there, because empathy is not something that you can teach. And an example of that is if you dealing with somebody that is a sociopath, what tends to happen is they ask a lot of questions. And I think the reason why they get a bad rap is people are not used to being asked the questions or the whys. Why is your face like that? Why is this thing funny? Why did you say ow? People are not used to these questions. And so it makes them uncomfortable. But yeah, I personally, from my experience, and again, this could be specific to my career field and what I do, empathy is not something that you can teach to somebody to have. You can teach them to understand, but you can't teach them to have it.
But then that puts me in a tough position then, because if I don't get that negative gut reaction towards animals being exploited for selfish reasons, would you say I don't have empathy?
I would say that is something that I can't teach you to have empathy, but you also understand why people do have it, right? I can't teach you to have empathy for the animals, but I can teach you to understand empathy. You already understand that empathy. You just don't have it for animals.
Right, but I have it towards a bunch of other things,
Correct.
right? Just not that. Like a bunch of other things that we as a
Correct.
society typically would, view you as should
Correct.
have an
And
empathy towards. So,
think about it from this perspective, right? Especially because you understand empathy for animals. Is there something that someone can say to you right now that would make you change your diet?
I would have to view it more so firsthand. Like I would have to probably like view some of like the exploitation. I'm so far removed from it. I'm like so many steps removed that it's easy to just like be ignorant to it. So I
So
think if I saw it, that probably would help
So
make it
again,
happen.
I can't teach you empathy, but I can teach you to understand. By
Sure.
viewing, you can understand. And then by understanding, maybe then you will change your ways. But for now, there is no words that someone can give you that's going to make you change your stance. That is the example.
Sathiam, I'll get to you in 1 second. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Luke, I don't know what's going on with this essential amino acid discussion. You can get all of your essential amino acids from animal product or from plant-based products. So I don't know if that's the argument you're making, but guys, you can get just as much strength and muscle growth as you could from these 14. You can just get just as much strength and muscle growth from plant-based products. Sathiam, what's up?
Good to see you again. I don't know if you remember, we spoke like a long time ago.
My bad. Yeah. So what's up? What's going on, man?
I just had like some random question to you about calf training back then. But anyway,
I remember.
nothing much.
I remember that.
Okay. They're still small, by the way. Update.
Keep working at it.
Yeah. So maybe I heard this argument once from Alex O'Connor. Maybe I could run that on you.
I know who he is.
Not
Yeah,
an argument. Not an argument. It's like I don't know. Whatever. Let me try to put it in that way. Okay.
Is he vegan?
He used to be, and then I don't know. The guy just said I stopped. So much for integrity. But I don't get that because it's like you like either you see pain and suffering and like you decide I don't want a part of that, or you don't. Like I don't. How do you become vegan?
Yeah,
Like,
I see what you're saying.
Like it doesn't. It's like
Yeah,
I used to not be a serial unaliver, but then I changed my mind, and now I'm, like it doesn't make sense to me. But whatever.
I
I
think
don't.
it's because a lot of people, I think less than people think, a lot of people assign veganism to the morality, because in a large case, that's what it is. But I also found through reading and also like listening to other people that are vegan talk, is that some people become vegan out of health-based necessity for whatever their goals are. It's the same thing with like people. It's the same thing for like people, like some people gear towards fruitarian recently. That has been a cause of concern for some places.
They wouldn't be vegan though,
Yeah,
definitionally speaking.
yeah, like they wouldn't be vegan, but because of how they eat, they consider themselves to be under, and it has nothing to do with morality for them. They are just like, this is health. Your body runs better if you do this. This
Right.
organ is better if you do this. So while there is a
They're
large amount of
plant-based.
people, yes, while there
Right.
is a
They're
large
not
amount of
vegan.
people that assign veganism to the morality clause, there are that group of people that are just like, this is health and this is why your body sucks. So yeah.
So the analogy that he had made was like, so the reason we unalive animals is taste pleasure, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's like, we don't need nutrition. Like we're just cutting out the middleman,
Agreed.
and
Agreed.
destroying removing the inefficiency. So imagine that I remove the taste pleasure, that sense pleasure, and replace it with something else. Imagine I enjoyed the sound that animals make when I, slit their throat, and that's why I like to unalive animals. Would that be justified?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. Yeah, no, that would no, that wouldn't be. Yeah,
And like why is it that all you're doing, it's just the pleasure of the taste. And so here you're just removing that, and you're replacing with pleasure of sound, specifically the throat being slit or whatever it might be. Maybe you like the visual cues or the visual scene afterwards, the red liquid, sprayed out everywhere or something, whatever it might be. But long story short, right? Like, we are causing exploitation and suffering. Whether you've seen it or not is not relevant. Like, that shouldn't move the needle, to me anyway, at least. If I know someone else is being hurt by my actions, and I don't need to do that. I understand the need, like you need to, there's no other way, fine. But I don't need to. Why would I cause any bit of suffering to anybody else? I saw you on Landon's live earlier, so I know you know the arguments, I know you're familiar with it. But maybe that moves the needle for you a little bit, or maybe a new perspective or something, that you can contend with.
yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, listen, I can certainly think on those things a little bit more, but I get what you're saying. I understand you don't need to see something to know it's wrong. I don't need to see child abuse to know it's wrong. I don't need to see.
I've never seen a grape.
Well, I was about to give
it's
that exact
evil.
example. Yeah, I don't need. I don't ever want to see grape happening. I just know it's wrong. I know it's bad. It's just inherent within me.
I hope I never see it happen, for sure. I shouldn't and I've seen some of these things in passing. Like, I've never seen documentaries or whatever, but I've seen the pens or whatever, or the cow like crying for its baby because they have to remove the baby right away. I'm a son. I know how much my mom loves me. Like, I can imagine. We know cows go through depression. Any mother would, right? That's just a natural, biological instinct of preservation, if anything, right? Or survival, rather. But yeah, so if I know this is going to happen, how could I willingly partake in that? Regardless if I'm seeing it, I know in the back of my mind that's what's happening. Obviously capitalism, Western, not just Western, but now it's all over the world. This culture removes us, makes sentient beings products. Ultimately, we're products too in a capitalistic society.
Sure.
But it just seems, man, dehumanize. I wonder sometimes if aliens came and said, "Give me good reasons we should sustain human race." I don't know if I could give one, because we brutalize and destroy everything, starting with each other first. Of course, animals will get the lowest of considerations, but it's horrifying what they go through. Anyway, I'm just yapping, but
No. I appreciate everything that you said.
Yeah. I'll drop it. I'm sure you want ups. I would too.
Yeah.
So,
No, you're good, man. Yeah. Take care. Okay. Take care. Yeah. If anybody wants to come on up, you're welcome to. I'll get to the next guest in just a second.
I don't understand. What I don't understand from this is the people that come in here and randomly talking about meat products they're eating in the comment section, as if their comment about eating rotisserie chicken is supposed to somehow affect the conversation.
Morris, how you doing? Morris?
Hello?
Hey, how are you? Social, you there?
I am here.
Yeah.
Okay.
How's it going?
Hold on. All right, let me. So, Morris, how old are you? And then Social, I'll get to you. Morris, how old are you?
I'm over 18. I'm 30.
Okay, your connection's a little shoddy. Yeah, Social, how old are you? Morris, come back up afterwards, okay? Because I didn't mean to break you up. Just re-request. I'll get you after. All right, Social, what's going on?
I am level 41.
Okay, what's up?
So I am interested in being persuaded to become a vegan, but I'm not convinced yet. And I'm assuming you're vegan, right? And your argument is it's morally superior. Is that
No,
what's going on?
I'm actually not a vegan. I just believe
Oh,
it is.
you're just supporting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Well, then can I start with a question then?
Yeah, sure.
So, why do you believe something is morally superior, but you're making the choice to not do something you think is that begs a very interesting philosophical question about your character.
Okay. No. Do you believe lying is a morally inferior thing to do over telling the truth?
Only if it causes harm.
Okay. Have you ever
I
lied
mean,
when
that's
it
a very
caused harm? Have you ever lied when it caused harm?
yeah, but that wasn't my intention.
You've never lied intentionally before.
No. I've intentionally lied.
But
But
he's saying it wasn't his intention to cause harm.
and sometimes it hasn't caused harm, but sometimes I made a wrong call and the lie actually did cause harm.
I can just go with another example, but like I think that's a weird justification in that like yeah, when I tell myself sometimes when I lie that like it's for the better, right? Like if I'm trying to keep something from someone, but I know deep down I should be telling that person the truth. I don't think I've ever met a human being that has never lied knowing they probably should tell the truth because it's just easier sometimes to lie.
I mean, maybe when I was a kid, but I told you, I'm level 41, so I don't really remember like everything from my child. Like, I'm sure, like, kids do things. Well, what's the point of this question? What are you trying to get at?
What I'm trying to get at is I don't think there's a single human that is perfect and does everything that they believe to be good. I think you're living in a fairy tale world if you think every human does every action that they believe to be good.
Oh, well, are you talking about the outcome or like the internal feeling?
I think the action itself, right? Because if you thought that what you were doing was good all the time, then there would be no contemplation.
Yes,
And
I agree.
Mikey's saying that he's 41, and so because we as humans, we contemplate. We don't always make the right choices.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. We have philosophy, essentially, to think about our ideas and like how I feel like there are people trying to do better even if they're not doing good. So then can I ask another question, sir? Or are you Doug?
Yeah. I am Doug, yep.
So while you see vegan as a morally superior position, does that mean you take steps towards, I mean, I guess doing this TikTok could be an example of taking steps towards being more of a vegan, but are you ever considering being a vegan in your journey as a person in life?
I think it's something I could probably work towards, yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm doing this conversation right here. But yeah, no, I think it's something I could work towards.
Okay, so let me talk about myself a little bit.
Okay.
I actually think being vegan sounds like it's a morally superior position in some ways. However, I mean, at least in myself, and I can't be the only one, certain vegan diets are harmful to people that have, specific like legume allergies,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a big part of the vegan diet. And so, is it actually morally superior to those if the vegan diet actually causes harm to that specific human?
No, I mean that's a good question, but I would define it as the unnecessary exploitation of animals. So if it's necessary for you to be able to do so for health reasons or monetary reasons or class reasons, then I don't think that would be a problem.
See, I probably would be vegan, but like I have legume allergies, which basically means beans, and also soy allergies, and it's very difficult for me to be
Yeah.
vegan.
Yeah,
And
in your
so
case
I
it would
just
be in your
don't
case it would
want to.
be very difficult. Yeah, I mean I'm sure theoretically you probably could, but it would be very inconvenient to do so. So I would
I mean,
understand in your scenario.
I could maybe if we lived in a more socialized government,
Yeah.
that like made resources available, but like the capitalistic system does things. I mean, I don't want to like derail your topic, but like there are reasons why some people can't even, you know,
No, I agree.
live a
Yeah.
vegan lifestyle because of privileges.
I agree. I 100% agree with that.
Okay, so
Yeah, so
you're Doug. You're a really smart fellow, so you have a lot of nuance, and which is a sign of a high IQ. Um, I mean, I don't even know if IQ like matters. I'm just kind of saying that as a slang, but like you have a more nuanced position than I thought.
um yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I think there's kind of nuance to some of these things. Yeah, I mean, I think I have like pretty good self-awareness, like do I always act on the self-awareness? No, am I perfect? No. But I think I'm like very in tune with things that I do. And so the the issue is I often have cognitive dissonance with it.
Okay.
In that like there are things I sometimes know are faulty with, I don't know if faulty is the right word, but like
Mhm.
things that I can work on or whatever, but like I kind of do anyways just because it's convenient and it's kind of hard sometimes to do the right thing. So I do struggle with that at times, to be honest.
I see. Well, if this is your position, then we aren't necessarily opposed. I'm not necessarily an op because I have nuanced position as I just, shared. I'm not like a militant vegan. I mean, I don't even consider myself a vegan. I eat animal products because, um, you know, I don't know how to not eat animal products.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we as a society, that's something that we've just always done and we grew up with, and it's been society acceptable. So it is certainly very difficult to do the opposite of that and kind of go against everything that we've always done and known. I agree with that.
So I don't know if you're like pro-capitalist, anti-capitalist, or pro-socialism,
I'm
but like
anti-capitalist.
wherever you
Yeah.
stand, I'm sure you can see that privileges may affect this discussion.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, I guess I have no opposition then.
Okay. All right, man. Well, Social, I appreciate the conversation. Okay.
All right,
Take care. Okay.
take
All
care.
right.
I actually love when people acknowledge that things are not always black and white. That
Yeah.
there can't be always a black and white to everything.
Somebody said being pro-life is morally superior. And then I asked him if he's pro-universal healthcare. That's weird, though. So it sounds like if you believe it's universal, if universal healthcare is morally superior, who is it that you're voting for then? I
Cat,
would
I
be,
would take Cat. I would take
I,
the yogurt over the peanut butter.
um, uh, yeah, healthcare for everyone, including the unborn. But if you're unborn, why?
You wouldn't have health care if you were unborn. You know what people? Yeah, people are just saying stuff.
All right, what do I need to address here? Eating yogurt during this?
That's who I was talking to, Doug. Cat, you would rather him eat yogurt than pop out the jar of peanut butter and randomly take a spoonful every time his ADHD kicks in.
Well, this is about vegan. Wait, what? Very confused. What is wrong with peanut butter? All right, what else do we got? You know how many animals suffered for you to eat that? The yogurt? I don't know. 0.3 cows? I don't know. A
I
third
was
of a
gonna say,
cow?
my yogurt is almond based. I also like the Cocoa June. It's very delicious. Recommend it.
I ate a nice steak today. Nice, man. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Mike. God damn it! Why do we keep bringing two people up at a time? Dilla, Morris, you're next. No. I'll get to Dilla. You
That's all
got to
right.
come back up.
I'll stay
No,
quiet. I'll stay quiet for a
no,
little bit.
Morris,
I
you're
won't
good. Morris,
interrupt.
you're good. You're next in line. I already did it to you once. I can't do it to you twice. How old are you?
No, that was my bad. That was my bad. I'm 30.
Okay, what's up?
So just to clarify, so your position that being vegan is morally superior?
Yeah.
Okay, so one, like, first of all, I don't see why that just by default makes you a morally superior person because in one aspect of your life, you think you're morally superior.
I agree.
Does that make sense?
No, I agree. I think
Oh,
being
I
in
thought
one,
I
I
thought that
think
you.
no, I'm not saying it makes you a morally superior person. It's a morally superior position.
Oh, it's a morally superior position. All right. So another thing that I would say is I understand how people don't want to eat animals. Then they take it further and they say, well, I don't want products that involve the use of animals. But to some degree, almost you can't escape some sort of animal product in your life. Every medication is based on animal testing models and animal products to some degree. And if you want to take that even further, people that, and I'm not going to get into whether life starts at conception and all that, but if you look at some of the testing that we do for medications that work, we test these on cells, on mice, on dogs, on other things. So I don't see why people are like, well, it's okay if people use animals for medical product testing, but it's not okay to eat them and things like that. And
So
I would also,
bringing
yes,
it
please.
back, I would say that the majority of the people, for people that are vegan and abide by the moral complex of veganism, a lot of them go out of their way to stand against those things. And depending on where you are located in the United States of America, there are ways to avoid animal products. Like I know in New York, they have these shops where you can go in bringing your own containers and pick up the things that you need in whatever container you're going to put them in, and they sell things by weight. They have them in a couple places in Florida. I've seen them in California.
So
So, like, there
I
are
understand.
people that do go out of their ways to do this, and it just depends on your accessibility and where you live. And there are some people that order things in bulk from specific companies to avoid having certain products. So,
So I understand. So how about antibiotics? What if a human were to say, I don't want to take antibiotics because all antibiotics are animal tested. They're all tested on animal models.
there are some
Or
people that do that and they abide by apothecary. There's a apothecary shop in Florida that I've been through where you can go in, you can tell them like, hey, this is what I'm feeling, and they will pull out their herbal book and you can go through it and figure out what it
yeah,
is.
so
Like there
I
are
can
people that take the route. Not everybody. I don't think that it's a common practice, but there are
I
groups of
would
people that will do it.
sure. One, I think that's kind of insane because I think there's a wide variety of medications that are shown to be extremely efficacious for a number of problems. For example, beta block. Almost every medication that you put in your mouth has been tested by animals. Actually, I could say safely 100% of them have been tested on some living creature. And I think for people to go that extreme, and remember, if you want to do that for yourself, that's one thing. But the whole thing of being morally superior is that you're putting yourself above other people for doing that. And one of the reasons I think vegans get such a bad reputation these days is because they tend to be very preachy about their beliefs. I have no problem with someone that's Christian or a flat earther or vegan. The problem is when you start preaching it to other people like you're morally better, that's when people begin to get turned off to that idea. Does that make sense?
But I think we can all agree that not all vegans operate under that assumption.
Of course not.
And the whole
course.
thing about making the decisions for to be natural and to choose what areas of your life you're going to be all natural in and what areas in your life you're going to apply what could be considered as synthetic structures is going to be based upon you and what you find to be agreeable as an individual. There are some people that have had bad experiences with healthcare and they just don't trust it overall and prefer to go the natural route. You see people on here all the time that identify themselves as crunchy and they take honey for everything, raw honey specifically. So, and these are not the people that would be vegan either. These are people that just have a mistrust of a system that is in place. So, it is a moral position, but also acknowledging a person's autonomy and the fact that they have the choice on what to do with their health care.
Yeah. I would agree. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's important that people are able to choose look, you have the right to do anything you want to your body. And that includes good things like remaining healthy or seeking alternative treatments or drinking too much and ruining your body and all of that. But I think more of the topic of vegan is being morally superior just because you've decided what you want to do with your body and you've chosen to not consume animal products. I don't see how that makes you why that decision makes you a better person or more moral than someone who chooses
superior position. I've already said morally superior position. Morris, I've already said morally superior position.
Yes, why is that position more superior?
Because the only reason for someone to do that in society as it stands has to be their own moral understanding. Sorry, Doug, you froze really bad.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't keep meaning to keep confused morally better person with position. I understand we're talking about the position here, but I don't see why your choice in a matter means that position on it is more moral. Like, why so? I feel like I need to be convinced why that is rather than defend the opposite.
So morals are subjective to the person, and I can't convince you. I can't convince you on subjective matter. I can maybe I can help you understand why it would be on the moral spectrum of superiority under the guise of a vegan standpoint is that they are protecting and preserving the lives of animals.
Yes,
which would be on the moral hill side of things, which is why that would put you in a moral superior position because it is the protection of a life. But again, it is subjective to that morality. Maybe you don't feel like, you don't feel like that position is worth it. Maybe that is not your moral, your moral standpoint.
No, I think you articulated exactly what I was thinking in saying that morals are completely subjective. And I think anyone that argues that there is objective morals is someone's like, well, would you agree that killing is always wrong? And I'm like, well, there are some interesting niche scenarios or cases. So I do think that morals are completely subjective. So to say that being vegan is a morally superior position means that in your eyes, in your subjective set of morals it is, but not in mine. And really, when it comes to morals, now there is something beyond the subjective, and that's something called intersubjective. And I think that there's some things that intersubjectively we all agree is morally superior, like to do good to your fellow man as opposed to harm them. Almost many people would subscribe to that belief. But I think on the belief of veganism, it's so divided that I really don't think that you're going to convince someone that doesn't value veganism that it's a morally superior position. I feel like it's just going to be two people talking past each other. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
But the goal is not to convince somebody that it is a morally superior position, but it is a statement. I'm not trying to convince you. Like
Well,
Doug is not trying to convince you that it is a morally superior position.
what's
So
the point of making a statement?
then it can be explained why. I just explained why it would be considered a morally superior position by way of preservation of life. But if you in your morals don't feel like preservation and protection of life is a superior standpoint,
Well, wait a
that
minute.
would be where the conversation comes in.
I
I'm
wouldn't
not
say
saying
that.
that is your belief. I'm saying
I understand. Oh yeah, of course. We're not. I don't think you're putting any words in my mouth, and I hope I'm not putting any words in yours. I don't see how not consuming an animal product saves the animal's life. Just because you didn't eat the hamburger doesn't mean that that cow is alive. There's still an industry that's going to be not hunting, but raising the animal for the purpose of killing it, devoid whether you participate in that system or not. Now, of course, if everyone came together and stopped eating cows, there might not be an industry which we raise and slaughter cows.
So that's
But I
the
would,
overarching goal, right? The overarching goal of vegans that are very vocal in their position. And even if you look at simpler terms, like if you look at smaller things, Walt Disney World has an actual lab, a food lab on property, a running research lab that talks about the production of food and the goal of being self-sustainable, right? The goal of veganism is that we can sustain ourselves without animal products. Now, is this going to pertain to everybody? There are people like myself that have medical conditions where this would not be possible. There are people that have to have specialty diets in order to survive. But overarching wise, if a vast majority of people went vegan, it would do wonders for the environment.
well, yeah, you might be right. If a vast, and I mean vast majority, not 51%, but a large percent. But right now, I think you would agree that there is still quite an industry that consumes animals and animal products. So to say right now that by participating in veganism, you're saving an animal life isn't true. It's just logically not right. It's not real.
Well, it is real because there are agencies and farms or sanctuaries, whatever you would like to call them. I guess they're more sanctuaries than anything that will go and purchase animals to prevent them from being
But that
cattle.
doesn't really address what I'm saying. By me, let's just say me right now, who's not a vegan, and I suddenly said I am no longer going to eat meat. Not one more animal was saved from being killed due to my no longer consuming meat. Actually, in reality.
But if you're saying that you're not going to eat meat and you're putting that in practice and you're saying I'm going to sanctuary or safe haven these animals to protect them from slaughter, I'm going to buy out this to prevent them from slaughter.
But that's not veganism. That's not veganism. That's a whole other stretch. Now I'm going to start putting money into sanctuary. Now, if you want to say not eating animal products and sanctuarying animals is a morally superior position, that's a whole different thing. But the argument is just veganism.
And if you are vegan and you are sanctuarying animals, that aligns with your moral values. You do not consume them and you are actively protecting them.
Most vegans, I would say, are not actively sanctuarying animals. I would say most vegans just do not. I don't think the word vegan means you're sanctuarying animals.
A lot of vegans donate to causes that allow for that to happen. Now, is it happening in mass? But I can't say that it's happening in mass. But I can tell you that there are $1 million organizations that do in fact do this.
I'm sure there is, but just to get back, and first off, it's a very worthwhile cause. I think everyone would agree we care about animals' lives. Like, let's not say that it's not like if it was up to me, we'd shoot all the animals in the head. But the
animals' lives
here,
matter. Animals' lives matter.
For sure. The specific argument here is being a vegan is a morally superior position. And vegan is defined as someone who does not, maybe I'm wrong with the definition, someone who does not consume animals or animal products. That's it. Not donates money to sanctuaries or sanctuaries animals or rescues animals. So saying just being a vegan.
A lot of vegans are activists. They have the reason why they are vegan is specifically linked to the protection of animals.
I don't think that you can say most vegans are activists. I think that's a gross exaggeration.
I didn't say most. I said a lot.
Or a lot. Some
No, I
maybe,
would
but
say
how?
a lot. I would say a lot. There is a
What's a
lot.
lot? 20%, 40%, 80%,
I
110.
guess
Like,
you would have to look at how many people are giving to charitable causes, but a lot of vegans specifically have stated that the reason why they are vegan is because they did not want to take part in the harming of animals.
well, you'd also have to realize how many people are giving to those charities that aren't vegan. For example, I'm not saying that I'm a saint, but I donate money to animal shelters, on behalf of me and my dog, and I'm not a vegan. So you can't say that all of the money there are plenty of animal lovers in the
I've
world that
never
still
made the
consume
claim
animal
that
products.
all of the money that they're getting
No,
are from people that don't consume animals.
no,
I
for
can't
sure,
make
but
that assumption that it's
of
all.
course,
I
no, of
can't make
course,
the assumption in any statement that it's all. This is not a one sum. There is no black and white to this.
of course.
There is nuance that should be adhered to.
Yes, I'm just saying, but I keep, and maybe the host here, I don't know your name. Was it Doug?
It's Doug.
Doug, I feel like just to have a third party, maybe, I don't know who, if I'm not communicating it, but the idea that vegan makes you being a vegan is a morally superior position by itself, but it seems like the Buzzy, if that's whatever your name is, you keep adding another thing. Vegans who donate, vegans who blank is morally superior, but that's not what the prompt is. You can
Vegans
always
not so a person that is vegan not taking place in eating animals is automatically harm reduction. If you are not taking place in the eating and the processing of animals, that is harm reduction just by way of
yes.
living. That automatically reduces your
How
footprint
is
because you are not taking that automatically reduces your ecological footprint because you are not taking place in the consumption and in the execution of animals. That automatically puts
okay?
you on a higher standard. Your footprint is automatically smaller ecologically just by way of your living. If you do
Yes.
nothing else, you are already considered a better person by that margin because you are not participating in the slaughter of animals. So
You
there's
aren't
that. On the
you're not
opposite side of that, if you are a vegan that does give to the charitable causes and you do XYZ, you add an extra layer to whatever moral complex you have. However, on the opposite side of that, morality as a whole is completely subjective. Maybe you don't feel that a person that is not eating and consuming byproducts is contributing in any way to the lack of animals gone, but scientifically, we know that that reduces your ecological footprint. So they are already standing on some sort of high ground outside of what you're doing as a meat eater.
I understand. So what you said something I'm a little confused with is you said scientifically it decreases your ecological footprint. What is someone's ecological footprint and what are the factors that are contributing to determine your ecological footprint?
So let's go verbatim by that and I'll go pull it up so that I'm not
Sure.
assessing an opinion. Hold on.
Of course. And I appreciate that.
Guys, keep tapping and sharing. We are looking for opposition. We will read the YouTube comments in the meantime before she comes back up. We have some very interesting people over here in the YouTube comments, guys. Somebody mentioned that Hitler was a vegan and all of his generals had to be a vegan.
I think we would agree that just because you're vegan doesn't make you a good person. That goes without saying.
Right. They mentioned it. And so in response, I said he invented the highway system. Therefore, if you drive on the highway, you're the same as Hitler. Which would be a silly position to have. And he claims, this person claims that they just brought it up for no reason whatsoever. Okay, then you get muted.
So your ecological footprint is based on your daily habits. So the way that you travel, the way that you eat, the way that you live overall. So if the way that you eat is not contributing to the harm of animals, your ecological footprint is reduced by whatever percentage that is contributed by slaughter.
Sure. I'm a little confused still. So not to be nitpicking here, but you said scientifically. So that means we have to be able to quantify someone's ecological footprint. So
we do know. So you can go on certain websites and you can put in things that affect your daily habits of living, and it will tell you an estimate on what your ecological footprint is. And I'm not you, so I can't do that portion for you. However, if you want to go to Google and find one of those sites to do this and then come back,
I am a little bit familiar with the term, and I've heard the term, and I'm a little bit familiar with ecological footprint as far as the amount of trash you produce, the amount of natural resources you might consume. Very commonly, we hear of a carbon footprint. If I were to be taking private jets, or I were to be accessible, if I drove my Hummer to and from work while doing all these things, that I understand. But I don't see how consuming meat changes your ecological footprint, because really the production of that meat isn't done by me, the consumer. It's done by the company that is raising the cow, consuming those things.
And again, your ecological footprint is defined by your daily habits
That's not a definition.
that include how you eat, how you travel, how you live overall. And again, I would encourage you to take a moment and to go to Google really quick, and you can see for yourself a more vast explanation of this. And also you can go to the websites that provide you with the system that allows you to put in the information as attuned to your daily habits that will give you what your ecological footprint is.
I mean, I would argue
I just
that
did a research paper on this. Actually, it was interesting.
So, I mean, I would again argue that the ecological footprint, anything that's done to the environment, isn't done by me consuming the meat. It's done by the production of the meat, which is not done by me. I'm just the
but that
end
is not
eater.
what your ecological footprint is by definition. That is not what your ecological footprint is.
Well, that doesn't mean that ecological footprint actually has a valid basis on the measurement of what your impact to the earth is in a positive or negative way. Then
that's exactly what it's telling you. I mean, you can go look. Do you want to look it up, and then do you want to type in what is your ecological footprint and then read it out loud?
Sure.
Okay.
So I'm looking up I'm sorry, I typed in what? How is ecological footprint for an individual calculated? Is that a fair question that I have?
If you want, but I asked you to type in what is an ecological footprint so that you have the basis of definition.
What is an ecological footprint? I'm going to type that in, and I'm going to take the AI definition. Is that okay? The Google AI one?
If you would like.
Sure. So it says an ecological footprint is a metric. So metric means it's measurable, that measures the amount of biologically productive land and water area a person, city, or country requires to produce the resources it consumes and to absorb the waste it generates. That's exactly what I thought ecological footprint means. It's exactly what I took it to understand. So it's a metric that measures the amount of biologically productive land or water. It's basically the amount of natural resources a person consumes.
And then also go to how is your ecological footprint calculated?
Okay, so I already said so that was the first thing that I looked up, and then now
you need both. So there is a basis.
Of course. So now I'm Googling. Now I already have
and then there's a personalized.
Sure. So I said, so here's the fair question. Let me know if this is okay. How is ecological footprint for an individual calculated? Or would you like me to remove the word individual?
Individual is fine.
Okay. We hit enter and it says an individual's ecological footprint is calculated by quantifying the amount of biologically productive land and water area required to produce the resources they consume and absorb their generated waste. So just to say it again, because I know that's a mouthful, it's the quantity, it's quantifying the amount of biologically productive land and water by area required to produce the resources they consume. I really fail to see how if I eat a cheeseburger versus now, of course, if you're eating enough lettuce or enough vegetation where it begins to impact the land, I could see how eating land consumes the resources. But I don't see how I'm not the one slaughtering the cows here. I'm not the one using the resources. I'm just consuming it. When it comes to McDonald's, like
a lot of people in the comment section are asking you to calm down.
Yeah, you're like unnecessarily excited.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just a little emphatic. I'm certainly not upset or angry. My bad.
So again, it is individualized, and as acknowledged, it is a calculation based off of a number of factors, which is why I said you might want to pull up a calculator for how that impacts, because it's individual. It's not something that you get from an overall definition. You have to pull up the calculator and then you would answer the questions and it will tell you what the impact is on. And it's just based off of your daily habits, because you can't quantify like land for a person. The overarching definition, you can't quantify that for a person. You have to individualize it to your daily living habits to be able to see that.
So the
and
definition,
I believe that's what people are shouting in the comment section too, now that I think about it.
I'm not worried about the comment section, really. I think one of the reasons I sounded so emphatic was also, I forgot my headphones were on. I was holding the phone up to my face, and now I realize you guys can hear me either way. So it says eating meat can significantly increase an individual's ecological footprint, largely due to the land, water, and greenhouse gases emissions required to raise livestock compared to plant-based proteins.
Correct.
Yes, so I could see how the production of meat adds to more, but me as an individual.
It's telling you that it's based off of your consumption. So whatever it is that you consume directly equates to what is necessary. That's what it's saying. That's what I was saying earlier. It's based off of your daily living habits, your consumption and your lifestyle individually. I can't tell you what that impact is because I don't know how you eat. Maybe you eat a minimal amount of meat. Maybe you eat a lot of meat. There are some people, like right now, the carnivore diet is very popular where they're just quite literally eating meat all the time. In a lot of cases in raw form. I can't tell you what your ecological footprint is because I don't know your daily living habits. I can't do that calculation for you. However, you would have to see what your impact is based off of your eating habits, which is why I said you can use a calculator and it will tell you that. It's not about you raising the cow yourself. It's about the resources that are needed to raise that cow that you are eating.
Okay, hold on. Let's let vegan tattoo artist chime on in. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for letting me up here.
Yeah, go for it. You can chime in.
Well, I was just listening. I mean, I guess the thing that's coming to my mind is, I don't know if Morris, I don't know his whole name there, Morris. I mean, he's asking, like, it seems like he's not understanding what Buzzy is saying, which I think she's explaining very clearly, that the things that you require, the things that you demand to be created, result in your carbon footprint or just overall effect on the world. So if I demand animal products to be raised and slaughtered, then of course that's going to affect what my footprint looks like. So I know that you're saying like, oh, the corporations, but the corporations do that because you ask for it, right? You're demanding that it happens.
Fair enough. So I guess then, while being vegan might, and based on what I'm learning here, because I have not I've learned something new today, which I can admit to. I'm open to learning. It seems awesome. That the consumption of meat increases your ecological footprint. So I would argue that having a small ecological footprint is what makes you morally superior. So what if I eat meat, but my overall ecological footprint is less than someone else?
And I think we would have a different, we'd have a different discussion. If you were somebody who was like, I raise one cow every year, let's talk about the ethics, then we might have a different type of conversation. We might talk about the fact that you don't need to eat animals, and by eating this animal, you're causing unnecessary suffering. So we could talk about the smaller, ecological footprint, and that's great, and that is a morally superior position. But you can also do both. You can be a vegan and have a lower footprint. So, I mean, it would be two different discussions. I don't want to interrupt Buzzy. I know she was also trying to speak up.
No, that's okay. That's literally what I said, that your ecological footprint is what's in. I said the same thing.
No, you did.
I literally said the whole thing.
Yes. Yeah, you did.
I led with that.
Fair enough. I mean, look, there are plenty of topics that I'm more versed on. I'm not particularly versed in ecological footprint. As you said, you wrote a research paper, so you got to let us people that are not educated to the subject catch up a little bit. But I would still, and while this is important, I would now agree that ecological footprint is important. I would now maybe shift my argument a little bit more to, I don't think to be mindful of your ecological footprint, you necessarily need to be vegan. I don't think caring about the earth and the world necessarily means that you don't consume animal products. Like, for example, what if someone were vegan, like Taylor Swift is vegan, but flies on her private jet nonstop? She has an enormous ecological footprint.
that we would talk to Taylor Swift about that specific issue, right? We'd say like, well, that's great that you don't need animals, but let's talk about your jet. And the issue here is not just the moral, like the fact that you are unnecessarily exploiting living sentient beings by consuming their body parts. The simple mathematical fact is that if I raise an animal in order to consume that individual, there's a shift in the trophic scale, right? This animal has to eat 25 times the calories to give me 1 calorie of beef. That cow has to consume 25 calories of vegetation. 25 calories of vegetation are now being wasted. They'll go nowhere. And then I'm eating 1 calorie of food. So no matter how you slice it, it's still incredibly inefficient to eat animals. Again, and I'll always, as a vegan, I'll always bring it back to the ethical, issue with exploitation. But not to mention, you're still exploiting an animal. But by feeding those animals as crops, it's rather than eating those crops directly, right? We're eating animals who have to eat the crops. We're wasting resources. No matter how we eat animals, it's a waste of resources.
I think that's an interesting way to put it, wasting resources. While my gut instinct kind of wants to argue that, I can't because I don't know the statistics and I haven't thought deeply enough. So I'm not just going to start. I'm not going to argue based on a gut feeling.
Good for you, really.
But yeah, well, I'm a scientist at heart, and I wish we were talking. That's why I choose to engage in these moral topics, because when it comes to scientific topics, I usually know what I'm talking about. And I'm usually right. But I mean, hey, I didn't, and also I didn't come on here to dominate the conversation. I learned a lot. I got to be honest. I'm still going to consume animal products, but I appreciate the education, man.
But I also led with that. The goal is to not force you into the idea. It's to make you understand the perspective, and
Sure.
maybe that changes your viewpoint, right? Maybe that causes you to consume less and change your ecological footprint. That's perfectly okay. But I also have to point out once again that everything Vegan Tattoo just said, I stated. I literally said everything he said. I said it 3 or 4 times, and while you were accidentally yelling at me, it's almost like you didn't listen to me for the fact that it was my voice that was saying it, and that's low-key offensive. So if I can give any feedback on this conversation is to make sure that when you are having these conversations, even from a place of passion, that your ears are open and you are open to pause rather than bring forth your idea, so that that does not happen again, because it is disheartening that as a woman I had this conversation with you, the same things he said to you, and I
Okay.
broke them down into smaller pieces as well. And
So
he came up here and said the literal same thing I said after you got to the same conclusion of what I said, and only from listening to him did
No,
you
Buzzy,
come to the
you're so
conclusion.
you were so like I was listening for a little while and I thought
that
everything you were saying was amazing. Like I only like springboarded off of your Buzzy, your commentary
First
gave me
off,
a motivation. So
I was all while me and you were first speaking about the matter, we then began to look these things up while I was Googling it, while I was reading it. Because in the beginning, this is a new argument. I'm trying to formulate my argument, formulate my opinion, things of that nature. It sounds like you've put deep thought into this, whereas maybe I haven't put as much thought. So I did some time and I was opening to Googling things and reading things and doing that. And he did bring some other points in there, like the use of resources and things. But then to suddenly switch to being like, because you are a woman that I didn't listen to you
That's
is
not what
way
I
off base.
said.
That's
She didn't say that.
What I said.
Morris,
That
if
is
that's
not
what
what you
inferred,
just said.
if
No,
that's
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 what
not what
literally
I
what you
said.
said.
That's
What did
not
you
what I
say?
said.
You said you
Morris,
are
she
you
didn't say
again
that.
are not.
She literally didn't say that.
What did you say? What'd you say?
Doug, can you tell him what I said? Hold on, Doug. Tell him what I
No.
said.
You tell me what
No,
you
it's
said.
fine.
But
Doug,
hold
tell him
on.
what I said.
If that's what you inferred from what she
No.
said, then
So
if the shoe
correct me.
fits, if the shoe fits.
No, that's not fair. So
She just
correct me.
said.
Go
She
ahead.
just said. I won't be able to say it word for word, but she said essentially it
Yeah,
was interesting
please.
that she said the same thing, but you listened to what he said and not what she said.
Disheartening.
She said
You're disheartened.
because I'm a woman. She said the word woman. She said the word woman. Did she not? She
But Morris,
insinuated.
listen to me.
No. Wait a minute. No. Now we're talking about facts. She insinuated that I was less accepting of what she was saying because she's a woman compared to Vegan
Morris, even
Tattoo.
the comment section is telling you that that's not what I said. I said it's disheartening for me to say these things and to feel like because it came from my voice, because I was saying it and you were so hell-bent on bringing forth your idea, you weren't listening to what I was saying. And I said if there's any feedback that I can give to you from this conversation, I would encourage you to listen, to try to, even when you're coming from a place of passion, to listen to what is being said rather than just trying to bring forth your idea.
So
I
you're
said
saying that
my
you were
voice, not my
so
womanly voice. I said my
no.
voice.
So you did say the word woman. So what did you mean by my voice? The pitch of your voice, the timbre of your voice?
Yes, the timbre of my voice, the tonality
Really?
of my voice.
You weren't insinuating that because you were a woman that I was not listening to what you were saying and
I
considering
quite
it.
literally said the word voice.
What
And
did you infer? What was inferred
that
by
it
that?
came from my voice, that I
Come
have been
on.
speaking to you softly this
I feel
entire time, and that
no.
you only listen to stronger voices.
No. No.
When after you were
That's
asked to
insulting.
calm down.
I think
I
it's
quite
insulting
literally
that you
said
no.
voice.
No, you did. You
Voice.
said the word woman. You did. So you didn't say the
Voice.
word woman. So did you say the
I
word woman? Yes or
said
no?
my voice.
You said, and then
I said my voice.
So at no point do you say the word woman. I
No,
didn't
I
say
said my voice, and
no.
I said
At
it's
no point.
disheartening.
We both agree. You said my voice, and then a couple words later, you said the word woman,
I did
insinuating that
not say
you did.
woman.
Okay,
I
I have a
did
question.
not.
Okay, I have a question. Is this being recorded or not? Can we
Well,
play it back? Is
every
there
live
any?
stream is being no. So stop yelling, dude. Just
You're,
relax. Stop.
I am
Just
relaxed, but
chill. You
look,
you you
I
keep
think
talking at the loudest voice possible without you actually
I'm
physically yelling. Just relax. Just
sure. My
pretend we're having
apologies.
a conversation, just like in an office somewhere. Okay, just
Yeah.
chill.
All right.
Okay.
So I think we were having a productive conversation. I even came away saying, hey, I've learned something here. And I would say most of it was due to what Buzzy was saying. It took me a little bit of time to catch on, read the definitions, and think about it. Do I agree with everything she said? No, but I did learn something. And then at the very end of it, vegan tattoo artist or whatever the individual's name is came in and elaborated a little more and added nothing new, really. He added a little bit, no offense. And then at the end, I
Okay.
said, fair. And I said, fair enough.
Yeah, but
Right?
Morris,
Because
listen just for a second, dude. Because I get it, man. Like it doesn't feel nice to have something pointed out that you don't think describes you. But I think that the best response here would be something like, "Hey, like I don't think I did that, but damn, maybe I should think about it." Because sometimes we do things, and it doesn't feel nice to have things called out, whether they're true or not. But it does happen. Like I know, like as a man, like I see other men disregard other people based on many things. And I don't know if he did it. I wasn't really here long enough to notice that. But maybe the best response here is, I don't think I did that, but I'll pay attention in the future. I don't think that you need to
fair
feel so
enough.
attacked and like just think think next time.
Okay.
You
Fair
know?
enough.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
I
Two quick things.
certainly,
Two quick things. Number one, can we just move on from this side conversation of a side conversation? And secondly,
well,
I
I just
just want
think
to
it
state.
was
I just want to state for the record. There's a difference between the word infer and imply. Imply is the person who's saying it. Infer is the person who's receiving it. I just want to make sure we use
Okay.
those words correctly. Let's move on from
Okay.
that part of it. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say towards the topic?
No, I thank both Buzzy mostly. I feel like if I thank Vegan Tattoo, it'll come off the wrong way. So 90% thank you, Buzzy. 9% thank you to the host. 1.
Shut up.
Buzzy was doing great, man. Somebody told me to like come check out your stuff. I just randomly shut up, and Buzzy was in there
Yeah,
just
it
rolling.
was probably the guy who was on my live earlier, or I don't know who it was. They mentioned you though. I forgot who the name was.
Yeah.
It
I just
was
saw it in my
Carl. Carl. They have like a leaf and a UK flag in their profile. They mentioned
Yeah,
you. They said I
maybe.
should follow. They said I should follow you. So
Yeah, they
I
said the
think
same thing, but
yeah. So hey guys, we are looking for opposition. Okay, so if you do disagree with the background prompt, please come on up. Okay. Ooh, we got somebody here. And keep tapping and sharing, guys. If you're enjoying the live on TikTok, click the red follow button on the top left, send in the heart me. If you're watching on YouTube, if you guys can like the live and also subscribe, that would be great. SV, how you doing? And Vegan, Buzzy, obviously you guys can stay up here. SV, what's up?
Hey, Doug. I don't want to make it an echo chamber. I joined like way before, maybe near an hour ago.
Yeah.
I'm a vegan who lives on a sailboat, and it's like maybe it's the Billie Eilish thing that's been going around, but I have been like activated into kind of changing what I want to do with my life into being a vegan activist. Because I've been vegan for so long and I've kind of always been like, oh, whatever, like it's your choice, da 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 da. And I mean, it is your choice, of course. Like everybody has their own journey to take and own choices to make. So, but anyway, I don't want to be another vegan up here, whatever. But man, I think just like having like everybody's, I have no idea how I was following Buzzy. Like I've followed her like around for so long. I'm so sorry, Buzzy, that I just followed you. Makes no sense that
I'm
I
merely
didn't
just
drop you a
B.
follow.
I am absolutely nobody important. But thank you for
No,
hearing me out. I
No,
appreciate
don't
it.
say that
I
about
hope
yourself.
you
You're
you
important to us, Buzzy.
you're very important, and I have listened to you for a long time, and you always have the points I want to like that I would want to make. So it's really helpful. I didn't even know you were a vegan, so that's really cool. But I joined originally because I was going to ask Doug, like, is the point of this live to kind of convince yourself and like recognize that cognitive dissonance, or and
So,
if it's too much to
I
talk
do
about,
want to
just like
clarify
let me
real
go.
quick that I am not a
Mhm.
vegan. I was a vegan for a while for my health, but then my doctors
Oh, my bad.
determined that it wasn't the best diet for me. I now have celiac intolerance and a whole bunch of other things.
Got you.
But because of having to follow the diet so closely for a long time, yeah, it gave me a perspective and an understanding for people that are vegan. I think there was that era where like all you see is like I'm a millennial, so for a while all you saw for representation
Me
was
too.
PETA and PETA being wild
Mm.
and you kind of being like get a grip. But I think when you have to follow the diet and actively like read the information to learn how to eat this way and you're looking at recipes and stuff, I think it brings it back to a center value that is not, I guess, media related.
And
Yeah.
real
Oh, go
quick, I
ahead.
just want to point out something that I think is really important is that if we don't eat animals or their secretions and we're doing it for health purposes, that's good. But that's not vegan. That's plant based, and there is a little bit of a difference. And I think it's an important difference. So it's cool that you were plant based. That's good. That was a good. Sounds like it was okay for you and good for the animals. But that's not veganism. That's plant based. Veganism is a moral philosophy. Plant based is a diet, which it sounds like you were on. So just kind of an important differentiation there.
You
That's
took
fair.
the words right out of my mouth, vegan tattoo artist. Sorry, I don't know your name and I followed you
That's
too.
okay.
But yeah, I think like recently, maybe in the last year, I've learned that, you know, because I was plant-based and like avoided purchasing animal products like all the other like, you know, direct things like leather, whatever else. Um, but like hearing it being said of like it is an ethical stance against the exploitation of human and non-human animals, like just that sentence alone like changed my brain chemistry, because like if Buzzy is eating animal products for their health, then like maybe that's still vegan in a way. Like if you're
Yeah.
just doing as what is practicable and possible, like you are doing the best that you can with what your life is and what your health is, and like I mean, anyway, so all that to say, like that sentence of like it is an ethical stance against exploitation when practicable and possible, like that's such an important note.
Yes.
I think just telling people that is like a way to get them to just think and just look back inward at themselves and know that yes, you're not a bad person per se. You can still be a bad person and eat meat or not. But I think that just the direct harming of animals, like who can argue that that's not the morally superior position to not harm them? I don't get that. I'll never get it.
And now that I have corrected language, I want to kind of clarify my thoughts. So I had to follow a plant-based diet very closely, which for me stemmed my curiosity. I wanted to learn more about the community, which led to me reading a lot about people that are vegan and the activism behind it and the lengths people go through to protect animals and to make sure that they're not contributing to harm, which I think is kind of fascinating when you research it. And Don't want to say that everything in the media is like smoke and mirrors that people are screaming at, like, oh, these people are going too far. But I think when you take the time to actually research a topic and you take the time to read about it, you find that there are a lot of practical things that are happening that should be discussed more.
Yeah, I think we can all agree. I agree. I think that we should all be looking at reality and asking questions and finding out the truth. And I mean, it's definitely there's a side, right? If we have two sides here, if you think like vegans versus like people that are exploiting animals for a living, like one group has a lot to gain by misleading others, and one group has nothing to gain by misleading others. And I like what you said. I like that you said it's like we should look closely. I so agree with that. Like, really.
Yeah, it's a really good point because, like, veganism, again, like, even kind of setting aside plant-based diet, obviously that's kind of just a side effect of veganism. It's like the leftist progressive final boss, right? Like, it really is just looking at what you're consuming, and you can see directly that, well, number one, obviously under capitalism, quote unquote, like textbook capitalism, you have to pay the full cost of what you're consuming. We know that that's barely anything in our society, but it's such a direct like line of, like, you can really see it because it is just the unaliving directly of a sentient being. And there's all these other instances where humans are exploited and non-human animals are exploited even without unaliving. And we can go down those avenues and we can totally have that nuanced discussion, but that's why I say it's the leftist final boss, because it's the final, like, it's not the final, I didn't mean to say final, but like it is a final boss, because it's like you have to make a change in your daily life, or at least like consider your daily life choices a little bit more than just going along with whatever. Anyway, I'm getting like way too yapping, and
No, you're okay. No worries.
I'm getting into like being online more. I'm an old millennial, maybe not that old, but I'm 35, and I feel like I've been vegan for over 10 years now, and it's like, what did I do with my 20s? I just like hung out and didn't advocate for this. So I'm a little bit activated within the last few months. So
That's awesome.
Thanks for having me up and listening. So yeah, being a little bit more vocal in my daily life and my online presence, especially as like somebody who, quote unquote, could have a platform as like a cruiser kind of sailboat lifestyle person, which is, again, you can be vegan or not, but
yeah. All right, Leslie, I appreciate you coming on up. Okay.
Yeah, thanks so much, Doug.
For sure. Take care. All right. Have a good one. Hey guys, if you disagree with the background, hit the request button there at the bottom of the screen. You can call in from YouTube. Okay. YouTubers, you guys are very chatty and very opinionated. I don't know why you guys don't want to just call on them. They are much worse than the TikTok comments are fine. YouTube they're much worse. They just say the dumbest things ever. Like,
I feel like when I post something on YouTube, yeah, they get like weird. I think I hate to say it. I'm 42, so I don't feel that bad saying it, but I feel like it's the age demographic on YouTube. I swear to God, that's what it is.
It could be. I mean, I could just read some sample comments here. I like to do this in between guests. If you eat, or what is this? Oh my gosh, where did it go? Where did the comment go? Vegan is for gay white people. Okay.
Damn. You know, it's interesting that like actually in America, like people of color are like, what is it, like 3 times more likely to be vegan or something like that. So that's funny that they don't know that. But okay, bro. Yeah. Gay white people.
Oh my gosh! All right. Infectious. Yeah, come on up. I saw you talking in the comments there.
Reading something about what you just said, vegan, about like minorities in America being vegan, and I found that a lot of it is based on the fact that a lot of like cultural diets have a basis that is mainly like vegetables rather than meat, and it's actually kind of interesting, like, to read it. I didn't read it from the standpoint of like the activism of veganists. It was more so for like the plant-based diet kind of perspective, but it was interesting to find out like a lot of people that are actively vegan do come from cultures that have more of a plant-based diet.
What's up? I love that. Oops. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. No, you guys go. No, I was just going to introduce the guest, Infectious.
I was just saying,
Hey, Doug, how's it going, man?
Yeah, go ahead. Vegan, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead and
I was
respond.
literally just like, yeah, I was just saying that it's such a good point. I think that the fact that it's a lot of other cultures are more likely to adhere to a plant-based diet or veganism, and it kind of, we look at the other side, like the flip side of that is like the rejection of a plant-based diet or even veganism. I think oftentimes reflects a certain underlying sense of xenophobia, because they are so closely related to other cultures. But I know we're not talking about that right now, but I like that you brought that up, and I think that's such a good point. So I'll be quiet now.
Go ahead, Infectious. What's up, man?
I actually just want to debate the position.
Sure. Good.
Oddly enough, we've never actually debated.
No, this is the
but
first
I want to
time
take it in a
hearing
weird
all.
direction, though.
Go ahead.
Okay, I would just argue that it is not the superior moral position. It is a better moral position than being omnivorous,
Okay.
but I don't believe it's the superior one. I believe there is an even better position.
Okay. What would that be?
An artificial diet.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
We can artificially produce glucose. We can artificially produce most nutrients the body needs. We know that. Vitamin supplements are a thing. If we put more science into how our bodies process those nutrients so we can maximize their potential, that would be the morally superior position.
What would make that
suck? It would be a pill diet.
Yeah. Why? Give me
But-
reasoning behind that. What's your? I have a feeling I know what you're getting at, but what's your reasoning behind that?
Well, because, I mean, if we're talking about whether or not it's a morally superior position, we're talking about a reduction of harm completely. And the only way to reduce harm completely is to not have to kill any plants or animals in order to sustain our diet. If we could produce all of those nutrients artificially, and if we pushed either which way, if we were going to say the vegan position is established worldwide and we convince humanity to go in that direction, we're going to have to do massive scientific advancements in how agriculture works.
Yeah.
Why don't we just put said scientific advancements into how we process nutrients so that we can produce those chemicals artificially?
Wait, I'm sorry. I just want to take a quick question. I don't mean to interrupt, but just I want to make sure we're being accurate here. Why do you think, or what's your sort of background understanding of why we would need to massively overhaul agriculture in order to support a world full of plant-based eaters? And I don't mean to interrupt live hosts. I don't know how
It's
you.
okay. No, you're good. You're good.
Well, no, I mean, if we were going to completely eliminate living proteins, let's just say, living animals as proteins, then we would have to substantiate that in a farming way. We would have to plant enough crops to be able to fill that gap. Okay, and with current agriculture, it would just literally take up too much space. We just couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah, let me just.
We would need to create things like artificial farms.
Okay, let me correct
farm.
Yeah, vertical farming would be great. But let me just correct that real quick before you kind of go, because I think you have an interesting thing here, but I do want to correct that. We already produce more than enough crops to support the entire population. We just currently feed them to animals. So if we didn't feed these crops to animals, we would be able to feed the world many times over. So we already have enough.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, grain production wouldn't need to be as high to sustain the animals. We could gear that towards like soybean and protein production.
Yeah, I mean, with 75% of soybeans or 77 are fed to the animals. But just a quick kind of just to kind of get you on the right track there, because I think you have an interesting viewpoint. But just pointing out that we wouldn't actually have to rehaul the entire agriculture system. We might just like redirect the resources. But I will say that with it being like an artificial thing, like I guess it would still be a vegan diet, right? Like if we all ate pills, if you're saying these are artificially created pills, well, if this protein is artificially created, then it would still not come from an animal, I would assume, right? So,
well, it wouldn't come from a plant either.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, great.
That's the point. I mean, it would be chemically created. We're basically just building our food at the molecular level.
Yeah, and it would be vegan, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. How would you get your calories? I can see how you get your vitamins and minerals and all that, but how would you get your calories? Where would that
we can make artificial glucose. We can make artificial raw glucose. That is a thing.
Okay, what about fats? Because you got to have fats.
Yeah. How would you? I didn't think
you
about
gotta
that
have
one.
dietary
Because I
fats.
did think about the caloric intake. I was thinking about that. I was actually talking to somebody else in the comments about it earlier.
I saw that.
Because just the position got me thinking, and it was just kind of more of a brain exercise. I was like, wait a minute, would that be the superior position, or how would we reduce harm completely? You know what I mean?
I mean, we can't make fats in labs.
What was that, vegan?
We can make fat in labs, right? If we're just talking about everything being artificial, we do have. I guess I don't know exactly what is meant by artificial, but we do have the ability to create like cell cultured animal fat in the laboratory. So I mean, it is a possibility.
That's true.
Infectious. I mean, it would still. It's interesting though, because infectious, you're still on the side of veganism, because if your argument is like, hey, the best thing would be to create everything in a lab and not take a plant's life and not take an animal's life, that's actually a vegan position as well, because veganism just means avoiding the exploitation of an animal, which you would be doing if you were creating everything in a lab.
That's true.
So you're on the vegan side still.
I guess the vegan part I usually just kind of automatically attach to vegetables. You know what I mean? And I know that's just an internal bias of mine. I apologize. Didn't even think about that.
Definition of vegan is simply a moral philosophy which seeks to exclude the exploitation of an animal wherever possible and practicable. That's all it is.
Right. Yeah. But I'm just saying, I mean, if we're going to go to the morally superior, I mean, we're trying to reach when you say it's superior, you're trying to reach the extreme of the position, which would be, like you said, the reduction of exploitation of living things. And so if we're going to eliminate that as much as possible, the only way to go is to do everything artificially.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if I were to make it more specific, the prompt, I guess it would be morally superior position in relation to an omnivore diet or a carnivore diet or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was really it. Like I said, I just wanted to argue the prompt, not the. You ain't taking steak out of my fucking cold dead hands. I'm just saying.
You should go vegan. Check out the video in my bio, bro. If you think it's wrong to unnecessarily hurt an animal, that's the only recognition that it takes to move forward. That's it. Most people think that. You've been conditioned.
I kind of don't, in a weird way. I mean, I have a hard time accepting human sentience as morally superior to anything.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I just don't. I kind of take a George Carlin look on life.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess the question is like, do you think that do you think it's okay to hurt an animal if we don't have to?
I would differentiate. I don't believe that we should hurt an animal if we don't have to, but we can absolutely kill an animal without harming it.
Well,
by definition.
But I don't think you can apply
like when.
But hold on. Actually, you would never say that about a human being. You would never say, "Hey, we can unalive you, but we're not going to harm you."
I get kind of weirdly torn on that one because I am, to a point, as far as morally speaking, I believe that it is not outside of the realm of thought to take a human life in order as an extreme punishment, like capital punishment. I'm not saying I'm completely against capital punishment. I am, however, opposed to the idea of the state taking human life. So I get into this kind of a weird gray area because I don't trust the state with that decision.
Well, the difference with that,
morally speaking, I don't think. I don't necessarily think there are people out there that cannot be fixed.
No,
and
sure.
that
But
are
I think
nothing
that's
but destructive.
Listen, I agree if we're talking about the death penalty. Yeah, listen, I agree. We can maybe think of situations in which that's something that can happen and all of that. But when we're talking about animals, that's a completely different story in the sense that they don't have the capability to make right and wrong decisions, right? So like there would never be a reason in which it probably would be okay to unalive them. Whereas even if you didn't believe in the death penalty, you can still argue that there's somebody who does something so shitty they at least deserve the worst things ever to happen to them. You know what I mean?
I see the viewpoint. I mean, don't get me wrong. I see the viewpoint. But I don't know. It's...
But the reason why you would think it would be okay to unalive some humans is because they did something so goddamn awful that, like, there's no other conclusion to come to but to do that. And potentially we can even have that debate. That's fine, but I don't think you can apply that at all to animals.
I don't know, because I mean, in the concept of choosing right and wrong in the first place, I mean, it's not even analogous, because a cow cannot choose right and wrong.
Well, exactly. So then
they don't have that capabilities. Therefore, if they don't have the understanding of right or wrong, they don't necessarily understand the meaning of harm in the same way we do.
But
in the same context.
But they
experience harm, yes.
And
but even plants experience harm.
But the difference is but plants aren't sentient, right? So they may experience harm, but they're not experiencing harm. And I know I used the same word there,
was having this discussion down in the comments earlier. There are several species of plants that we do eat that there is a possibility of, and not necessarily a brain, but at least a neural network of attached roots and systems that do communicate with each other. You can't say they're not.
What
and if we're talking sentience counts to a lot of shit.
Okay, so
we can say definitively. Sorry.
Well, I mean, the ones that we absolutely know of, is we do know that there are species of mushrooms that absolutely are capable of this, that communicate over huge distances, just because they have that. What's the word for it? My brain keeps wanting to say mitochondrial, but I know that's not the right word. Mycelial. There you go. A mycelial network, to where fungi in one area can communicate information about things going on with them to other ones, as long as they're attached through that network. So it kind of turns into a degree. I mean, if we're going to take it to a moral conclusion,
I mean,
you have to take all the possibilities into account.
But I mean, sure. So like, if you here's the thing, right? Like, we're like, hey, you probably shouldn't like throw 6-month-old piglets into gas chambers, which is like how we get bacon, right? Like, this is what we're saying.
Right.
And you're like, well, like mushrooms might be able to communicate with each other. Well, okay, yeah, maybe they can communicate, but they don't have a brain. They don't have a central nervous system. They are not sentient. But if you somehow came up, if somehow they discovered tomorrow that mushrooms were sentient, then vegans would go, okay, cool, we don't eat those now, right? So just because a mushroom might be sentient, it then doesn't then justify, forcibly impregnating female cows so we can have their milk, or putting baby pigs into gas chambers, or blending up male chicks as soon as they're hatched. Like, these things aren't okay, yeah.
I do agree with you on that degree. I do not agree with corporate farming, especially animal farming. I've never agreed with that. I don't necessarily mind, like, if you're doing free-range cows, to where those cows, basically, they're out in the field, they live their damn lives. If they breed, they breed. Great. If they don't, they don't. You're not forcing anything. You're not forcibly doing anything to them.
Well, they're taking their life forcibly, and even the animals who are like on quote-unquote free-range farms, which you should know statistically 99% of animals who we eat come from factory. It might be 98 or 99% come from factory farms. And everybody says that they don't eat factory, but everybody does. So there's that. And then, of course, we are forcing their lives away from them. We are forcing them. And in addition to all of that, we don't eat adult animals. Like, we don't eat adult animals because the flesh would be too tough. So even the 1% of cows that have their life out in a field somewhere, they're still unalived when they're babies, right? Like 1 or 2 years old when they could live to be 40. So, but I will say it's cool. Most people say that they don't like factory farming, but this means that you recognize there's an issue with causing harm to animals. There's an issue with what we do to these animals. And so the furthest extent of that compassion is to not put them through this at all when we don't have to.
I think there's a difference between factually torturing an animal, which, again, like you were talking about, forcefully confining these things into, like cows into a small area to where they live their lives in an 8x10, things like that. No, that is torture. That is more than just ending its life early so that we can consume it, but giving it a life worth living while it's alive. There's a difference there. If there was a way for us to meet demand, which there is, other countries have figured it out. But there is a way to meet demand without forcing these animals into the smallest freaking land space possible. Because all that's doing is we're just trying to conserve land space and resources.
Well, it's not actually sustainable. Like unfortunately, and here's two things, right? So first of all, again, right, I like that you're recognizing that what we're doing to these animals in these small factory farms is bad. And again, I would just reiterate that the furthest extension of your own compassion that you have, the furthest extension isn't to do it better, do it differently. The furthest extension of that logic and compassion is to not do it at all. But just to push back on the facts there, it is not sustainable or possible to give every animal the amount of space that would give them a, quote, good life and feed the world. We just don't have that kind of space. It's simply not available. It's the reason why we have factory farms, because we do not have the resources to support that. And then the other part of it is, if we give them a great life, isn't it kind of even worse to take that great life away from them when we've given them a reason to live, something that's pleasurable for them, then we take it away? It's a tricky one, man. I know these are hard questions.
I do, and my main problem with this specific discussion is that when, like you just did, when I'm challenged to look at my morality and look at the empathy that I have and the compassion that I do have, and that I understand that these things are pretty fucked up, just put it bluntly, my moral compass tends to want to take that to the farthest logical conclusion that I can come up with. Because if I have that empathy for them, then that means that I have to have empathy for everything that could possibly have that same experience, whether I understand it or not. And that tends to hit me in a spot to where I would have to apply that to all living things. I don't have that capability. I don't have the capability to make that decision to say, all right, then I'm going completely artificial nutrients, artificial glucose. I'm not going to harm another living thing for as long as I live. I would take that option if I had it, but I don't.
Well, I get what you're saying too. You're like, man, well, if the best thing would be to not take any lives, and that includes plants. But we have to recognize that there is a difference between plants and animals, right? There are factual differences, and I mean, even evolutionarily speaking, it wouldn't make any sense for a plant to experience pain because they can't run away. This would be horrific. If a plant could feel pain, they wouldn't survive evolutionarily because they would be stuck while they're getting eaten, right? So they respond to stimuli, and they, like, as anything that has a cellular structure, they would prefer to, live their life cycle, but they don't experience pain and they don't experience suffering. So I think that you would be healthy in drawing the line at, I'm going to reduce the amount of suffering that I cause. Plants don't suffer. So you can reduce the amount of suffering that you cause by not eating animals. And again, that would actually end up reducing the amount of plants that you eat because animals require plants to consume. So I get that thinking because it happens to me too, where I push myself as far as, right, I would go all the way into like, well, even if I eat plants, like if I'm going to get some bugs caught up in the vegetables that I pull up, right? But the limit can and should be sentience and the ability to suffer, which animals do feel and animals do experience for sure.
Okay, so let me just counter that perspective. Like I said, there may be degrees that plants do suffer in a different way than we understand. We may not consider it emotional suffering because they wouldn't have emotions. I understand that. Emotions come from a specific part of the brain. We know that there are animals that simply don't have emotions because they don't have that part of the brain. But they still suffer. And you would still say that they suffer.
Well, I wouldn't.
So why could we not say that plants? I mean, we could technically eat worms.
Well, worms definitely. So worms are sentient. But so here's the thing too, right? We don't have any evidence that plants feel pain. And again, evolutionarily speaking, it wouldn't make sense for them to feel pain. And in fact, a lot of plants, they want to be consumed, right? Apples, there's the fruit being dropped here. The requirement is that fruit is in fact consumed. Some plants even, develop buds that are made to be attractive to herbivores to eat them, right? So sometimes plants want to get eaten. But here's the thing, even if we discovered tomorrow that plants do suffer and do feel pain, then the answer isn't then to continue eating animals. The answer would be, okay, well, how do I reduce the suffering that these plants experience, right? So
you just crossed your own barrier, because just like the plants, just like the apples, there are worms that literally their entire existence is to be eaten.
Wait, what do you mean?
To be chomped up so that they can spread their offspring, so that they can multiply.
What worms would that be? I have never heard of anything. I'm curious.
Oh God, there's a brown worm, like a black roundworm.
Let me look this up. Is that what it's called? Brown. Let me see.
No, I don't. That's not the name. I'm picturing it in my head. I can't think of the name.
Oh, okay.
If you mean like
earthworm, millipede. I'm just trying to see which ones you might be talking about here.
I wonder if it means like intestinal worms or something. But they're not going to.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's probably what you're referring to. Infectious.
Well, they're not. Yeah, they're not losing their life inside of our bodies, right? So that's a little different.
Oh yeah. I apologize. I was thinking something else.
That's okay. It's hard when we're trying to work through things that we might not have thought about very often.
But I'm also very garden today.
Yeah, gotcha.
And okay, I'm gonna throw one other thing out at you, and it's just because we were kind of on that line of the torture concept of a creature if they do experience harm. Again, going to the extreme, if there is any degree of that suffering, when we end an animal's life to consume it, we end it in the fastest way we possibly can, to where that animal cannot have any future suffering, right? That their suffering's done.
Well, that's not true, second. That might be what you wish happened, but that isn't what happens.
I worked at a slaughterhouse. I saw it happen.
What kind of slaughterhouse did you, if you don't mind me asking?
It was a Tyson plant.
Like for chickens?
It was an IBP plant originally, and then it became a Tyson beef plant. And I mean, we ended the cattle's life in plant, and I watched it happen. It's instantaneous.
No, I mean, like I
don't know anything's going on.
I mean, okay, so yeah, I mean, I will gently just kind of push back against that because a lot of people have, in fact, seen footage from slaughterhouses. So I don't know if maybe you didn't work in the part of the slaughterhouse where this happened, but I think there's like a 75% miss rate, right, where they're using the right, you know what the tool is called, what they use to unalive the cow, right?
I don't know what it's called, but I know it's a long, slender pole with a projectile in the end of it.
Yeah, a captive
bolt.
bolt.
And it goes through the brainstem.
What's it called? I just want to look it up real quickly.
A captive bolt. It's like
what was it? A cap and what was it? I didn't hear it.
Captive bolt.
Captive bolt. Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Bolt.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, there is a miss rate, right? I think there's like a 75% miss rate, and I could be off on those statistics, but and even if like the actual like strike, the blow to the head, it doesn't actually take their lives away, right? They die from bleeding out. So they're rendered unconscious, but it oftentimes doesn't work the way that we want it to. And you have pregnant cows that end up and the fetus has to be pulled out of the womb and unalived. So it isn't instant. I just want to gently push back that we wish it was that way. And the desire is for it to be that way. But we also put 6-month-old piglets into gas chambers, and that takes minutes, to happen. So, I mean, but I know that you're kind of saying, like, if we could do it instantly, what would be the ethical issue there, maybe is kind of what you're getting at, I think.
Right. Well, kind of the direction that I was going with that is when we harvest plants, we don't end their lives. We do everything possible to extend them.
Okay. Yeah, and then, okay, so what's your... Yeah.
We purposefully extend that life after we've severed them from basically the lower half of their body, or upper half, depending on what kind of plant it is.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I would just go back to like saying, if you have this like love and concern for plants, then again, a plant-based diet...
It's not a love and concern, it's just a possibility.
Sure, yeah. And
again, I'm not trying to poke at it being my moral position. I'm just saying that it is a more moral position. If you're going to take it to that extreme, then these are all things that you have to take into account.
Right, and exactly.
If you want to consider it a morally superior position.
Right, so if my goal was to decrease the amount of lives, right, plant lives, if I wanted to kill the least amount of plants, then a plant-based diet, a vegan diet, kills less plants.
And that's true.
Yeah, so I would just say that, if you wanted
it does reduce the amount, but it doesn't reduce things, like I said, like purposely keeping them alive for as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, but it causes less plants to, quote unquote, experience that, right? If you wanted to argue that they have experiences. So if you were concerned about that, then we would want to decrease that that happening, right? So we would eat a plant-based diet, which would reduce the amount of plants that are pulled up and kept alive. So we could recognize.
So then wouldn't it be just as morally ambiguous to say that if we could reduce animal lives as much as possible to meet the demand of the population,
well,
wouldn't that be morally superior also?
Yeah, yes, if we could feed the world with the least amount of animal deaths, that would be preferable, and we can do that because we don't need to eat animals. So yeah, it's not actually all ambiguous at all, because the facts, like the scientific facts, are that we don't need to eat animals to survive at all, and if we eat animals, we cause them to suffer. So the answer would be to not consume animals because we don't need to.
But again, if we're talking about a need, we don't need to eat living things at all. Science has progressed to that point.
Well, we need to eat and you know.
No, we need to consume. We don't need to eat, we need to consume. We need to consume vitamins and minerals, and we need to consume the caloric intake we need.
Yeah, I mean,
and the fats. But all of these things can be produced without killing anything.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I mean, if we're back to like your original position. Yeah, but I mean, I would advocate for that, right? Like if there was an option out there where it was like, hey, here's a fully synthetic diet which causes no deaths, like I would advocate for that. That's not something that we have available.
That's just what I'm saying, though, is when you bring your position up, if I just take your position and I just carry it through farther than you do, that's exactly where we end up. That's where we have to end up.
That's fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. And I mean, we could say that for anything. We could say like, oh, like the workforce is problematic. So in an ideal world, there would be no workforce. We'd all just be making art. And I would love that. Right now, the best that we have is this. The best that we have right now is a plant-based diet. So in the meantime, let's advocate for the absolute elimination of any death of anything. Right now, we have plant-based dieting, which reduces the amount of plant deaths, reduces the amount of animal deaths, reduces the carbon footprint. That's our best option right now. Doesn't mean we can't advocate for your fully synthetic diet. I'm behind you on that. We're on the same side.
Yep. And that was all I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, again, we're just trying to convince each other of a perspective.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is what I tell people too, man. I'll be quiet after this because I feel like I'm kind of taking. I don't want to take over Doug's
No,
but
you're fine. You're okay.
At the end of the day, this is what I tell people. Most people hold the value that it's wrong to harm an animal unless we have to. And yet most of us have been conditioned by society, by our parents, by the media, by the meat, egg, and dairy industry. We've been convinced to cause these animals suffering and unalivement when we don't need to. So my thing is just always encouraging people to understand their own beliefs, right? We all don't want animals to suffer, but we've been convinced to set that aside. Every single one of us at some age understood that the thing we were eating on our plate was an animal that we thought we loved and cared about, right? Like we think cows are cute and pigs are cute. And when we find out that that's what we're eating, every kid in the world loses their mind when they find that out. And then we get told something in that moment. And that's what convinces us for the rest of our life to keep doing this thing, right? Like that's why they're put here, or we have to do it, or it was fast, they didn't suffer, right? And this is conditioning. And we should push back against that.
Right.
You should too. You seem like an intelligent person. I think you should check out some documentaries like Dominion 2018. There's a 3-minute video in my bio. I'm not looking for followers. You don't have to follow me, but you could click on my bio and check out the video and see how you feel as a human. You know, I'm assuming you identify as a man. You know how you feel as a man when you see that happening, and if you want to be the cause of that. You know, a human being the cause of that.
I think if we got into that discussion, we'd be here for another hour.
Tricky. Best thing that you can think about. It's 3 minutes. Look, the video in my bio is 3 minutes, man. I don't know. You said you were like in your 30s or something. So you've had 30 years of
I'm 50.
Oh, you've had 50 years.
I'm 50.
Great. I'm 42, so we're close. You've had 50 years of being convinced of one side, right? Me too. 40 years. If you can give those animals 3 minutes, man, do it. It's not going to hurt you, right?
I spent 50 years living in the Midwest. Most of the beef that I eat, I know exactly where it comes from. I know the people that raise that beef. I know how they treat their animals. I know how they treat their farms. They're local farmers. Most of the meat I buy. The only stuff that I don't is maybe my fish or my chicken. And again, most of the stuff that I eat is locally sourced because we have a lot of ag places, like Tyson Foods. Tyson Foods literally has a processing factory here for chicken, but all of the chickens that they buy are locally sourced. My boys worked for one of those chicken farms. I've been inside of it. It's not the cramped in thousands of chickens per square inch crap that you normally see on documentaries. And I agree, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
but I don't see that here. I just don't.
Let me just see real quick. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Guess whoever just joins.
Zadeki.
Oh yeah, no. If you got an actual debate, I'm gonna opt down for it.
Yeah, guys, I am just looking for actual ones. I don't want any more people that kind of agree with us. So and thank you, Infectious. Do you disagree?
I am somewhat of an opposition because I am a hunter and somewhat of a farmer.
Okay.
So like, I fish. I raise my own chickens.
Okay.
I do occasionally go on deer and boar hunts, and mainly my concern is when we do get rid of I don't know, meat eating, like, do we keep all our livestock? Do they just like vanish into the ether? Do we keep them for like some, I don't know, hobbyist thing? And otherwise, the hunting, like, we kind of have to right now. Like, are we going to get rid of the hunting and get our wolves back?
Wait,
Like, that's what I want to know.
Wait, you're saying we have to hunt?
Oh, well, right here in America, we have to because of deer populations not being controlled by wolves anymore. Like, legitimately, if there were no hunters controlling the population, we would have a lot more car deaths. We would have a lot more issues of, just our plants becoming eaten more often, stuff like that. I don't think it's like as prominent as like, oh, we absolutely need to hunt. I'm just saying, like, right now, until we have our wolves back, it's kind of necessary, at least for population regulation.
So you're unaliving one animal to save another animal?
Kind of, but that's also because we've lost the animals that would have killed them anyhow. Our fault for killing the wolves to begin with, so now we have a problem we create ourselves.
Why not just leave them alone and not unalive them?
I mean, because that's just very bad for the environment. We need to get the wolves back, and then we wouldn't need to hunt them. I do want the wolves back. And the main thing keeping us from getting the wolves is the commercial farming of the animals, because that was the reason we had to kill them. I would like to get our wolves back so we wouldn't have to kill the wolves.
I will say
Wouldn't
I
have to
did
kill
read something about this,
deer.
Doug, because you look baffled. So I did read something about this, and it is more so a regional thing. It's not really, well, it is kind of a thing happening in Florida. Deer populations in the United States of America as a whole are expanding. Like, even in areas where they are culling deers, like, it is quite expansive. And there is an issue. I don't think the proper term is infestation, but there is an issue of the overgrown population of deer that is something that needs to be addressed. And now, as far as I've seen, there is no overarching plan for how to deal with this. And basically, like the person above vegan is saying, they're kind of just hoping that hunting helps out, hunting and culling together helps out the overrunning population until they can come up with a solution. But I will say it is kind of semi area specific. Depending on where you are, you might see more or less of it, but it is something that is genuinely happening.
Same with cowbirds. We have a lot of cows in our area, and so we have an excess of cowbirds. And that means that certain of our more endangered birds are being pushed further towards extinction because of one bird that literally uses our cattle to fucking migrate. Or not migrate, but, survive, breed, and get legitimately cows in their fields gives more cowbirds places to be. And they are nest parasites. They lay eggs in the nests of other birds. So them being more numerous is a problem.
I guess I would just like
come to a point that we have to regulate it.
Yeah, I would just kind of gently push back too on like the idea of like I can agree too, like just like Buzzy below me said too, there can absolutely be an issue with wild animals encroaching on populations where humans have decided to take over. And I would sort of encourage you to think about maybe a different situation, right? Like if you lived somewhere, I've been in countries, I lived in the Middle East for many years, where there is problem with like stray dogs, right? Like wild dogs running around. Unfortunately, in the countries where I live, the response was to unalive these dogs. But there are alternatives, right? And I bet that you could think if there were a bunch of stray dogs or stray cats, what we would do, right? We would implement birth control, and birth control is extraordinarily effective with deer populations. So I would just sort of say, like, the vegan position isn't an anti-death movement. It's against exploiting the animal, right? So if for some reason I had to unalive many deer because they were going to suffer, or other animal, whatever, this isn't necessarily exploitation, right? It is taking an animal's life. I would still seek an alternative. I would still, look towards birth control. I think would be an excellent option. It's what we do with cats, right? We trap, neuter, and release them.
I do agree with the birth control.
Yeah,
that would be a great reduction on a population. But hunters do still help the deer population in a way, if only because hunters are the main driving force of stopping chronic wasting disease. Because it's legitimate. If we see a deer that we even think might be chronic wasting disease, they pretty much encourage us to shoot it, put it out of its misery, and collect it so that it's not getting other deer sick.
Yeah, and I mean that's you definitely have an option to do that. I mean you could do that for anything, right? If you see an animal who's suffering, I think the most compassionate thing we can do if there's no hope for that animal is to end their suffering, right? This ending the suffering of an animal, euthanasia, is different than hunting, right? So if I'm hunting, I'm looking for an individual life to take, and I'm doing it for that purpose, right? I wouldn't call myself a hunter if I was out there simply ending the suffering of other deer. So I agree that CWD, chronic wasting disease, and ESH is really bad. I've seen it happen, and ending those lives can be the most compassionate. But I wouldn't then extend it and say that the answer to the issue of the overpopulation of deer is to take all of their lives away, or take as many lives away. I would still seek the most compassionate option, which would be birth control, right? You'd eliminate the amount of deer, you'd eliminate the amount of CWD, chronic wasting disease, happening. So I just kind of gently push back on that position, right? Like I know that hunters like to say that, like I'm doing this out of respect for the animal, but if we only did it to help them, we wouldn't then eat their bodies after either,
Besides, I know that is a lie for a whole lot of hunters. They don't respect the animal. They do gut shots and they don't track them down, and I get pissed at other hunters in the field. So I understand it's not near as, merciful as they say it is.
Yeah, good. I respect you for recognizing that. I know that a lot of people, I grew up in a hunting community. I've always grown up in the country, and there are there are people on both sides of the fence. But the thing I would say is you obviously have some compassion for animals. I mean, you don't want these animals to suffer, and at the end of the day, like I said to the last guy, and like I told myself, that the furthest extension of our compassion, it's not like our only option is factory farming or hunting an animal. We have the option to not take their lives away, right? And if we're concerned about the overpopulation of deer or cowbirds, then we seek alternatives to the populations, right? Maybe exclusionary practices or birth control.
I even would think it'd be cool to, like, instead of culling the cowbirds, like, I know you would still have to maybe get rid of some of the males, but you could keep the females for, like, even smaller eggs than quail eggs, theoretically. Like, instead of killing them.
I mean, I wouldn't advocate for exploiting them, because we're still using their body for a purpose, that we don't need to. But it's cool that you're thinking in the direction of, how can you decrease the amount of suffering and harm. So that's an interesting take.
If they think they're parasitizing other nests, so they get to live as they want to. I don't know. It'd be something
No,
like
that's
that.
actually funny.
But
Because yeah, as like a parasitic, birds are so fascinating with how they it's kind of evil, honestly. But yeah, yeah, man. I mean, but I do see what you're saying. I know that like different situations call for different methods, but you know, we can't use we shouldn't use those special situations to justify all harm, right? Like if I was like, oh man, like I don't want deer to suffer, so I'm hunting them down and unaliving them, well then maybe I would do that, but then I wouldn't consume any other animal product in any other way in my life. But the facts are that people who hunt also just they consume animal products in other parts of their life, right? So we know that it's not being done just for the benefit of the animal. And I probably need to stop talking now. I've been on here for a while. I got to get home, and I feel bad for the host. I know I'm yapping, but yeah, I'm probably gonna.
you actually
All right,
a
man.
lot of
Appreciate you
good,
coming on up.
knowledge,
Yeah.
though.
I
No,
think it
no,
was an
thank you.
effective conversation, to be honest. I don't think it was just yapping.
Yeah, I just feel bad because I'm like I just hop on here and went blah blah blah, but yeah.
All right, man. Great having you. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys give him a follow, okay? If you're interested in what he had to say, okay?
Thanks for having me up, man. I'm glad that other guy messaged me about you. I'll definitely keep track of you and try to hang out
For sure.
a little bit more.
Yeah. Take care, okay?
All right, bye-bye.
All right, I'll bring you down there. All right. I am probably gonna wrap it up though, guys. It's pretty late here. And I gotta wake up pretty early tomorrow. So, yeah. If you guys did enjoy live, click the red follow button on the top left. If you watched on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to me. Buzzy, any last words?
If you are one of Doug's viewers, I would like to point out that we have never seen Dougie lock into such a conversation. Wow, who would have thought? Who would have thought that all ADHD needed was a hyperfixation?
Smavo, you got your goddamn answer, and nobody fucking is obligated to answer you. The chat, the live does not revolve around you. Nobody needs to respond to you.
And I
Okay?
feel like a lot of people responded to you at that.
Yes, they did. Yes,
Yeah.
they fucking did.
And I hope for the takeaway for this, for everybody that's listening, I hope the takeaway is that people that are vegan are not a one size fit all, right? Under the vegan umbrella, they still have their own thoughts, ideas, and beliefs. Even if they have one thing in common, that does not mean they are all the same. And that should be taken into consideration. And this should be, this is the best example of there isn't always a black and white, that nuance exists, and it should be taken into consideration. And that's all.
All right. Yeah, I don't know why you were demanding an answer. So, anyways, Buzzy, let me go ahead and bring you down, but I appreciate it. All right. Take care. Yeah, listen, again, I don't know why you were trying to demand an answer. Nobody's obligated to respond to you whatsoever, okay? So, and what does it matter if vegans are pro-choice or pro-life? What the fuck does that have to do with the topic? Who cares what their views are on that? You're allowed to have your own views. Okay. Just interesting. Okay, well, you did get your answer in the comment section, okay? Again, it's not a monolith. There are vegans that are pro-life. There are vegans that are pro-choice. No, I would argue probably on average, most vegans are probably pro-choice. If I were to just take a wild guess, but that doesn't mean they have to feel that way. Actually, let me see this guest real quickly. Never mind, guys. Hold up. I might have spoke too soon. Numis, what's up?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing. How old are you?
I'm 30 years old.
Okay, what's up?
I first want to get a little bit clarity. I'm not so familiar with everything, but I listened to your podcast just for a while. It was very interesting. Kudos, guys, on the points that you guys were bringing up. Before I continue, like debating the point, I just want to get a definition on a couple of words. What is when you say the word moral? What do you mean by that?
Yeah. So when we're talking about morals, I mean. Well, hold on. How much of it have you listened to, though?
I listened for like an hour and a half, I think.
Okay, so what?
I first thought you guys were nuts, and then I kept listening. I'm like, oh, they're not so crazy. I think I get it, but I want to make sure I got the point right.
Yeah. So what part? Because I thought we kind of I thought we sort of addressed that. Like what part?
I didn't hear
what clarification?
I didn't hear a definition. See, I'll give you. I just want to. If I have my definition for morality, and I just want to make sure when I'm debating it with you, we're on par on the definition of what we're arguing. It might be that me and you have two different understanding of what morality is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we're gonna give you definition, I don't know, like principles, belief standards that guide a person,
And
something like
they're
that.
based. They come from what? They come from a thing within, from a culture, from God.
For me, I would say they come from within.
So it says you basically have your own moral standards, and based on that, I'm saying I don't you're not a vegan, so it's kind of strange
No.
debating it with you because it doesn't seem like you really have that as your moral hold. Because if you truly believe that was the moral superior position, you would have made strides. I guess I don't know if you did or do not to make sure that every day you're growing towards that position. If you're not, then
Mm,
it clearly shows it's not a priority in your life.
no, I wouldn't necessarily say that, because I think I think we've grown up in a society where it was very, very normalized to not be a vegan. And I mean, that's all most of us ever grew up in. And I think to get to the point to even acknowledge that there could be some issues with it, uh, took a lot of work and things like that. And probably to get to the point to make the changes will take more work and things. I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing.
So for example, I'll use my definition of morality, and you tell me if you agree with it. I believe that morality is, in today's term at least, used as what our society puts as a standard.
Okay.
It's not
Yeah.
just a self ideology. So
No, I think it gets influenced, but I think it gets influenced by society.
yeah. So it's a society. If the society generally feels that eating meat is perfectly fine, what makes it not moral then?
Well,
The
I mean, I
majority
can
believe you can
just
eat it.
well, I can say the same as if there were societies that viewed grape as okay. That would that make it a
But no, but that you're using something in theory. In theory, but in reality, no, the
yeah.
society does not think that.
I
Nobody
I
thinks
understand it's a
grape.
hypothetical. It's a
Right,
hypothetical,
but
and
I'm
there
so,
are
but
and
we're
there are
used to thinking
and there,
that.
hold on, there are societies in the past that were very much that was okay.
That
So
might know, yeah, that type of society, when they're wrong, they just die out. Whatever their moral compass was wrong, it led
but
them down to death. But
okay, but they didn't die out because of that.
I'm sure that when you have that level of corruption in your morality, it will trickle into everything else, and it would cause your demise. It happened to every culture. You can see every. I mean, I probably shouldn't say this here, but I like through the history I found when things get extremely liberal, usually that society just disappears from existence. It happened to the Greeks. It happened to the Romans. It happened. You can track it down through history. But
Great.
I
Hold
don't
on,
want to.
Greeks. Wait, the Greeks became liberal, and that's why they died down.
I mean, they were pretty liberal. I mean, maybe my definition of what I mean is liberal.
What made them liberal, and how did that specifically cause them to die out?
They slept with every single, with everything and everyone. There was no stand. They had, they wanted to see people kill each other. It was not a problem. They put a TV screen basically on there. Did
What
it.
does that have to do with being liberal?
I guess that was my definition of liberal: is you just do whatever you want.
That is not the definition of liberal. So
It could be. I'm not very political. I didn't use it as a political word. It wasn't. It was just my. It could be. English is my second language. Maybe I don't have a clear
your
definition for
understanding of
liberal.
being liberal is do whatever you want.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, it seems like it. If
Can
you
you give
want to
me an
be
example? Can you give me an
uh,
example in today's
I'll give you an
society
idea.
of
I decided
yeah?
I wanted to be a girl, and so I'm a girl now.
Well, that's not how it works. That's actually not how it works at all. You actually have a fundamental misunderstanding of how being trans works at all. So I
No,
think
no,
we
I'm not
found
talking
the
about
root
trans.
problem.
I use that. I'm not talking about trans. I'm not debating if it's right or. I'm just giving an idea of what I define as liberal.
But you were referring to trans people,
I referred an idea.
right?
Yes, if you just decided,
But that's not
I'll
how
take
being
that. I'll
trans
take it.
works,
I'll
though.
change it.
You have a fundamental misunderstanding, and I think we found the
I
root of the
apologize.
problem.
Again, it
Okay.
was just it was an example to use. I'll change your
Okay. So
mind.
give me. Okay. Well, that wouldn't be it, though. That wouldn't be it, though.
If I
You what?
decided I wanted to be a cat, so now I have the rights to be a cat because I think I'm a cat.
No.
Okay, I don't think we were gonna originally argue on
Well,
if
I mean, I'm sorry you
liberal.
brought it up, but like, I don't think you had to
Okay,
understand how any of this works whatsoever.
you can explain.
There's not a single person that says because I think I'm a cat, I am a cat. And I hate to break it to you, when it comes to trans people, they're not changing who they are at all, right? They're not going from a boy to a girl. That's not at all how it works.
What do you mean? I mean, I'm talking about when people change their physical gender.
They're not changing their gender.
They, I mean, if you take off an organ that's one way and then it becomes something else, what is that?
They're not changing it. They did. You don't have to get surgery beyond hormones
No,
to be transgender.
I was specifically talking that I don't know the different terminology between trans. I don't know this stuff. It's not the society I grew up with, so I'm not sure. You know, I sometimes I hear something on the mainstream on YouTube, and that's just what I hear people are doing. I don't know like what categories of this there is.
Okay, but yeah, being transgender is not changing one's gender. All it simply means is, by the very definition, is your sex and gender do not align. That's all it is. You're not changing anything.
I don't think I even used the word transgender. I just said a boy he decided he wants to be a girl, so he's a girl.
Right.
I don't know. If
But
that,
you were
yeah,
referring to trans people.
I really don't have the terminology straight to know which way I'm referring it to. I just meant actually like changing biologically, like from a boy to a girl.
You mean changing like their what do you changing what?
Like the actual like they take their organ, their male organ, and change it into a female organ.
Okay, so you're talking about, say, them having a penis and then them having a vagina afterwards?
Basically.
Okay, but that's not what makes them a girl or a boy or a man or a woman.
I'm not debating that. That wasn't the position.
I know, but the whole reason why we got to this is that you think liberal means do whatever you want.
Yeah,
it's just fundamentally not what it means.
It could be. You're probably right. I also don't think that was the whole point. It could be bad grammar skills on my bad vocabulary on my side.
Well, I mean, let's backtrack at how you got to that. You said all over liberal societies have died out, and how we got to that was that I gave you an example. I gave you an example. You said we as a society view it's okay, therefore it's okay. And I said, well, what if the societies view grape as okay? And would that be okay? And then
you use the hypothetical to take it.
It's not a hypothetical. There were societies, and there currently are societies that view grape as okay. Yes, there are. Yes, there are. There are countries. Yes, there are. There are countries in which grape is okay. Yes.
It's the majority. I'm saying, is that like the majority?
In fact, there's actually states within the U.S.
Really?
In which marital hold on. In which marital grape was not a thing for the longest time up until incredibly fucking recently. But that's grape. That's grape.
I hear you. I guess I don't know. You know what to say to that. Again,
well, what I'm saying is in recent times.
I've lived all across America. I've never ran into a society. The majority of people believe rape is okay. If you found a small sect that doesn't prove your point, that's a corrupt moral compass in that small population.
That doesn't change anything. What I'm saying. The point is, just because a group of people think a certain way, that doesn't mean it's okay.
So I remember when I used my definition, what I define as moral, what I believe most people would, is what society in general will hold. That's what I believe will be influenced in you to be moral.
Okay, great. Society in general believes slavery was okay 200 years ago. Is that okay?
You know, just like when you had a viewer before who said, if tomorrow we find out mushrooms are sentient, we will stop eating them. So I'll respond to you. We grew to a point where we understood slavery is not okay, and we stopped.
Great. So why don't we come to a point where we view that eating animals is not okay?
Oh, so that I'm not debating it. It happens to be, again, I eat meat, but I had thoughts in my head also where, you know, it's kind of really weird that we eat flesh of another animal.
For sure.
It's really strange. But the society norm and the moral code wasn't broken by doing that. It's not. Like, I don't see the majority of people feeling that way.
Right, but that's why we're having this conversation. So that's why it's important to have these conversations.
Two meat eaters are debating. But I hear you. It's definitely true. It's why we're talking about it. But again, there's like there's a natural pull. Like I don't have a natural pull towards cannibalism, but I do have a natural pull to eat meat. There is something just natural in it, and it doesn't feel wrong because it's
Well,
natural. Like if you're
because
gonna
it's
use
heavily
if you're
accepted.
gonna use the example right now as rape feeling natural, I'm gonna get upset.
Well, because it's heavily accepted. That's why you think it's okay.
Would you would say if you lock a kid up and he's just born, he wouldn't have a pull towards eating meat? Like evolution hasn't created that inside of us already?
Well, what I'm saying is that if we grew up in a society in which this was not as a socially acceptable thing, then we would view that less so the case.
But we did, and that is how the moral compass is
I know, but
formed.
that doesn't mean it's okay, though, is what I'm saying.
All right. Okay. I will. I won't. I'm not debating that it's there's definitely what I got from the conversations earlier. What I want to say kudos to is you guys kind of explained the position of what a vegan is, which I never thought. I thought it was just a bunch of people who don't eat meat, but it seems like it's people who want to avoid causing pain and suffering, and
Right.
that's the way you guys want to tackle it. I don't know again if that's really what the other gentleman was saying is the superior point, not by saying let's just not eat plants altogether, but by saying there's probably other things you can do in life that would probably eliminate other factors of pain and suffering much faster, much greater than just not eating animals.
Like what?
By maybe charity, just consistently implementing charity in our life, helping
Yeah, why
those
not?
who are in need.
Yeah, you can do both. I think both are
No,
good.
no, but I for sure you can do both, and but I'm question is it really superior to be a vegan versus like other, the biblical term for morality is very interesting. They call it the way of the world. It's called derech eretz, the way of the world. There are other things we can do in life to make ourselves better, and the focal point should maybe start there versus like towards what we naturally all feel that it's okay to eat meat. We
Yeah,
crave it.
well, once again, I think we could do multiple things at once, right?
For
You can
sure,
do plenty.
but
You
would
can
you
do
say
plenty
it's
of other good things
superior?
that, but it's superior to the alternative, and the position is superior. I'm not saying people
Oh,
are
you're
superior
saying
because they're a vegan.
you're saying. Correct me if
I'm
I'm wrong.
not.
You're saying that it's morally superior to be a vegan versus being a person who eats flesh.
Well, that the position is morally superior. I'm not saying people who are vegan are all morally superior than people who eat
The
animal-based
position, yeah, I know,
products.
I
The
would agree. I'm
position
saying,
is
yeah,
because
yeah,
there
yeah,
are
yeah. I
plenty
understood
of
that. I
because there are
understood that. Yeah.
I know because there's plenty of vegans who do plenty of awful things throughout their life, not because they're vegan, just because humans do and whatever, right?
So
And so they themselves may be just a shitty person. They happen to do a good thing, but they do plenty of shitty things. And there's plenty of people who eat meat who do plenty of great things in their lives. That position itself, all I'm is talking about.
I'll give you, and I hear you. This reminds me of a story where I heard about a priest walking to a man's execution, and he tells the executioner, "Let's walk around this neighborhood because when I was walking there earlier, I saw little mice there, and there might be a whole family, so I don't want to step on them and trample them on the way to execute this guy." Like he puts a moral compass, worrying about mice that he might tremble to death versus the man they're gonna execute. It's I think that compass is broken when the direction becomes greater on the focal point on an animal versus, but when you reframed it by saying it's just a position between eating meat or not eating meat, then I have no debate on this. I think you're right.
Well, I mean, to what you said, I think there's a couple of things there. One, when we're talking about mice, they didn't do anything necessarily to deserve being stomped on,
I
right?
never.
Whereas the
Well,
per
if you
Well, I
want to
know,
know the
but
whole story,
where is the person being executed in the scenario? I assume did something atrocious to make that happen.
unfortunately, in this story, it was not the case. He was. I can tell you the whole story if you want to hear it,
No,
but
no, 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 no.
yeah, yeah, it's a waste of time. But in this case, it was he was framed, but they were going to execute him. Yeah.
Okay, well then whatever. But yeah, I don't see how that's come from, or I don't see how that's analogous to
Only
what we're talking
only
about. Then
because when you said when you said morally superior, I was under the impression, in a general terms of morality, this is the most important and the superior point to be at. But you reframed it now more properly, where you're saying it's just between eating meat and not eating meat, and now I get it.
Well, engaging in any harm being done to animals, which would include eating meat. But
So
yeah.
that's so you're saying again, yeah. So you're saying it's not causing harm to animals versus causing harm to animals. Yeah, but that's a no-brainer. I mean, that's a no-brainer debate. Is that really what you're going about?
Well, if it's
It's
no
better
brainer,
not
then
to
when we
hurt
want.
animals
But
versus hurting animals.
if it's no brainer, then we won't be having this conversation. Then
I thought the conversation were mostly, is that the most moral thing you can do?
in comparison to not doing it, yeah.
Right. I mean, yeah, I hear it. Causing less pain to anything,
Yes,
even
it's just minimizing pain and suffering to
yeah,
sentient
yeah.
beings, sentient things. That's it.
I think most of the comments and everybody else was really thrown off by thinking that you guys thought you're better because you're a vegan versus anything else. I think that's where the chat was really going nuts and they weren't really understanding it either. But that, yeah, that position makes sense. It was very interesting. I learned a lot about omnivores and vegans. I never heard of any of this stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, I appreciate you. It was a lot of fun. Good luck.
Cool. Appreciate it. Take care. All right.
To now.
I got cooked by that guy, apparently, according to some of the YouTube comments. As to how he cooked me, I don't know. I'm not sure what was his point of how he might have cooked me. Entire debate, sure. Okay. I think you need to work on separating, and I think a lot of people need to work on this. You especially, Huckfin. I think you need to learn how to separate. I'm going to put you in a timeout for being stupid. I think you need to learn how to separate you agreeing with somebody versus somebody winning in a debate. Okay, you can disagree with somebody but still think they won in a debate. I understand you don't know how to separate those two. You think every time you agree with somebody, they win the debate no matter what. So I think you should learn how to separate those two. You should work on that. So when you come back into my next live, I expect to see a full 5-paragraph essay on how you were wrong about that. Okay? I act tough. Okay. Yeah, guys, I posted my address there in the YouTube comments. If you really want to say all these things, you can say it to my face, okay? My address is in the comments. I fully expect for you to come to my address and have this conversation that you're doing in the YouTube comments, okay? All right, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm talking to YouTube. I'm not talking TikTok. I'm streaming on YouTube as well. Guys, if you are getting from what I am saying that I think I'm better than you guys, if that's what you are gathering, I think you need to look at yourself, okay? And you need to ask yourself, why do I think if somebody has a different viewpoint than me, they think that they're better than me? Because the background certainly doesn't say I think I'm better than you, unless you have reading comprehension skills. The background says it's a morally superior position. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody because of it, or that anybody who's vegan is better than anybody who's not. So, number one, work on reading comprehension. And two, if you think that I'm saying I'm morally superior, then I think you need to look within yourself. Anyways, I appreciate everybody watching. I am better than everybody here. I hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Make sure you guys give me a follow. Click the red follow button on top left. Click the subscribe button on YouTube, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow, okay?